108th Avenue Northeast is where I'm going to be set to shoot back to the west here. And we just had a small funnel just moments ago. So again, we're still not out of danger yet, I believe, David. It has weakened, but I still think it could ramp up at any time we get power flashes. If you go back to your right a little more. Right in there, David, we just had power flashes right in there. I don't know, that probably was straight line winds, but it could possibly be another small funnel, but there's power flashes right in there.
Jim, that's it.
Jim Gardner reporting live from Bob Mills, Sky News 9, back to you.
All right, great job, Jim Gardner. No, that's the area that's over Tinker Air Force Base right now. That is the area of circulation, so we could have another developing tornado up here. We got to watch this area carefully. The least we'll get out of this, damaging winds, large hail. This storm has produced confirmed baseball-size hail in Oklahoma City. So, wow. Okay, let's go to Storm Shield 9, and let me show you what it looks like here on Storm Shield 9. And there's the old mesocyclone that produced the tornado in Moore. That's the old area of circulation there. That was down in Moore. It has weakened some good news there for us. But now we got to watch this next area back to the northwest. Here's where Jim is. He's looking back to the northwest. And Oklahoma City, South Metro, Southeast Oklahoma City, wind and hail. No threat of any tornado back in here. Jones, downtown Oklahoma City, Will Rogers, no risk of any tornadoes in here, okay? No risk of a tornado in here. It's right in here. It's basically Midwest City over to and the eastern sides of the county, Hara, New Walla, down to Lake Stanley Draper, right in here. This is a zone now that we're watching that we're somewhat concerned about. That's what Jim Gardner's looking at from Bob Mills, Sky News 9 HD. All right, let's back out just a bit. Lacey and Cassie, let me point out what's going on. We can't forget about these storms down here. And these storms are really, really ramping up as well. Let's back out a little bit more, and let's kind of get the line here. There's the line of storms coming through Oklahoma City. Severe storm, tornadic storm. We've had multiple tornadoes out obviously through Moore, moved through Moore, and now we're getting another area of circulation with this. Let's take Jim shot full. Might have another tornado now. And Jim, let's take a look at it here. Is that area spinning? It looks like it is.
Yeah, it's trying to spin, David. That's what we were looking at earlier, and it dissipated, and it started up again, and it's weakening again, but it just keeps circulating around here, David. And like I said, I'm coming up to 132nd Avenue Northeast and East Deer Creek Road. That's going to be right on the northern tip of Lake Thunderbird here. I'm about probably a half mile north of the very furthest tip of Lake Thunderbird here, shooting back, and we're picking up these little vortices like this all along the front here, and it's still pushing a lot of wind out in front of it. Look at this wind there. Well, there's another one, David. Now this is further south. No, excuse me. This is the same one. This is ramped back up again. It's kind of in a tree area there, but this is happening all along this front for probably about a mile, David. All along here, we're getting all kinds of these things popping up. So, boy, this is a wide area for people to really watch out for. It's just incredible what's going on out here.
Okay, all right, Jim, hang on just a second. We'll stay with you here. Guys, let's go back to Storm Shield 9. I want to point out, where is this taking place? Storm Shield 9, that's where Jim is, Sky News 9. He's looking back to the west-northwest, okay? He's looking right back in here. So here's Nakoma Park, here's Choctaw, damaging winds in here. See the blue showing up? That's going to be winds 60, 70 miles per hour. Maybe even an 80-mile-an-hour wind gust in there going on, right over Tinker Air Force Base. Tinker Air Force Base right now is getting hammered. Del City, you got hammered. Midwest City, you're getting hammered. Back up towards Nakoma Park. Winds in here 60 to 70 miles per hour, wrapping in where that area of circulation is. Jim's right there, looking off to his west-northwest at those small gustnados, possibly a tornado back in here that Jim's looking at. And the circulation continues to get stronger with this. All right, let's back out just a bit. And let me show you, kind of give you the big overview here. Let's back out a little bit more. I want to point out northern sides of Oklahoma City, Arcadia, Edmond, the Village, Yukon. It's just wind and rain and some hail up here, okay? The most intense part, the dangerous part of the storm is in the South Oklahoma City area. And then from here down to where Hank is, down to Chickasha with these storms. Now, let's put this in reflectivity mode, and we'll see what's going on with that. And again, boy, there are some big storms. There's one now in Chandler, one over in Chandler where Marty is. And we need to tell Marty he's got a hook just to his west. He's probably looking at a lowering there. Actually, I can see it. We need to keep an eye on Marty's shot. I see Marty's shot. He's looking at that hook. I see it here on my monitor. And then here's what Jim's on. Here's what Val's on. And Val, we got to get Val east. We got to get Allen east. And then Hank Brown is on this storm down here, this storm and the other storm. And these are all severe. These are all capable of golf ball, a lot of golf ball size hail, and even some baseball size hail. Not everyone's going to have that size of hail, but these certainly can produce it in a very short period of time. So again, tornado warning continues for Cleveland County, basically where the circulation is right now. Let's zoom on in, guys. Let's go back to shear rate, and let's take a look at that and get an update here from shear rate. Wow, look at that. It's impressive. Pretty impressive. Okay, so.
Right over just north of the TLX radar.
Yeah, it really is. The radar is right here. Lake Stanley Draper is right here, and the circulation now is going to be pretty much on the Cleveland, Oklahoma County line is where the circulation is, maybe a little bit northwest of that, and that's where Jim's looking from his shot. Val Castro's coming in behind it. Alan Brosey in behind that. Now, this little signature here, you're wondering what that is. That's the radar depicting debris that's been lofted into the sky that's everything but water, and it basically differentiates between water or hail or any particles like that, anything that's a solid, such as a roof or trees or things like that. That's what that's all about right there. But we can't confirm that the tornado is back in here right now. We have the circulation a little bit farther east. Tinker Air Force Base, Matt Mahler just telling me Tinker just had a wind gust of 73 miles per hour. 73, that's what we've been saying, 60, 70, close to 80. So 73 mile an hour wind gust going on at Tinker Air Force Base. Damaging winds. Worst part of this storm now from Tinker headed towards New Walla. You folks in New Walla, you folks in Stella, prepare for severe weather. Prepare for a possible tornado getting going on down there. But for sure, damaging winds and large hail. You can count on that as this storm continues to push off to the east-southeast. Let's take Jim Gardner's shot. He's right here looking back at the area of circulation where it's the most severe, where it's the most dangerous, is right back in here. Let's take Jim's shot full, if we can, get an update from Jim. Jim Gardner, I know you're with us again, and it looks like maybe for now, have you seen any of the debris on the ground or anything like that in the last couple of minutes?
Oh, we've seen a lot of debris falling out of the air, David. Right now, I'm just across Southeast 149th Street, and let's see, intersection of Southeast 149th. Let's see what the intersection is here, David. If it'll pop up here. 156th Avenue Northeast and Southeast 149th Street. That's the intersection I'm sitting over. This looks like it's kind of calmed down a little bit, David. It's kind of blew itself out. We don't see any more little vortices on the ground like we did, the gust nails or possibly tornadoes like we had. But again, it looks like it's just straight line winds, a lot of rain, and the hail coming behind this, David. We're going to have to move off to the south here and start thinking about going and getting fuel somewhere.
All right, great job. And again, Jim, nothing like what we saw a little bit ago. Hey, control room, do we have the video re-racked of the tornado going through Moore? Do we have that? Yeah. Okay, we do. Okay, let's give you an update here on the radar. Let's go back to Storm Shield 9. Jim's still up. Val Castro's coming in behind it. We haven't seen any power flashes here. This is the most dangerous storm now. Far southeastern Oklahoma County, far northern Cleveland County. Moore, you've had your tornado for the day. You've actually had several tornadoes today, all right? And then back to the west, Mustang, back to Chickasha. Severe storms here, quarter, golf ball, might even have a little baseball-size hail in any one of these storms. And Hank Brown's down here as well, keeping a close eye on these storms. Jim Gardner's right here. But this is the main storm. This is the big storm right here, running from basically Oklahoma City downtown with the large hail. But the tornado threat right now is in Del City, down through the eastern sides of Moore, and it's going to keep moving east. Guys, let's put this in motion here real quick, and let's loop this and see what's going on. Let's see. There we go. Yeah, it's moving pretty much due east now. And Jim's right here looking right at it. We're going to keep tracking it. If you live in Shawnee, you need to get ready. You need to get ready for this storm. It's headed towards Shawnee. It's headed towards Meeker. Bobby Payne's right here. He's looking back at it as well. And we're going to keep, again, lining this front, and we're going to keep pushing it off to the southeast. Let's go back to about an hour ago when the tornado was going through Moore. And some of this is kind of some unedited video here. But power flashes in Moore. That is a tornado on the ground. We had debris in the air. We've confirmed, Kelly Ogles confirmed at least one semi overturned, one car overturned. And look at the spin going on. We had several tornadoes on the ground at the same time. Here's one right here. There's one tornado there. This is back in Moore. This is not live. Again, that's earlier. And this thing just kept going on. You can see the debris in the air. And look at the traffic. Here it goes. Watch it spin up right here. Watch it. There it goes. Tornado on the ground. That's how fast this thing forms. And there it is right there. Boom. Power flash. Step out of the way. Power flash earlier as that tornado was going through Moore. Unbelievable. There it is. Crossing, I think that was 12th Street at the time. Crossing 12th Street. And this is I-35. Wow, look at the power flashes. There it is. So, and now the tornado, this is the inflow on the backside, and it's beginning to spin up and get stronger. It's getting faster at this point, but again, this is not live, okay? This was not live. We had this live on the air, all right? This was live on the air from Jim Gardner and Bob Mills, Sky News 9 HD. But this thing was continuing to push off to the east-southeast at about 25 to 30 miles per hour, really producing multiple tornadoes down in Moore today. We actually had a couple of tornadoes out in Caddo County earlier from Hank Brown, but wow. And there's the inflow, everything flowing into it. Still some power pops going on the backside. Power flashes there. But the tornado was up in here at this point as it was continuing to push off to the east-southeast. So, wow. Kelly, go ahead.
Yeah, David, I'm continuing to monitor the scanners. Our crews are almost in place down in Moore. And I will tell you, they're talking about that same area. It's right by the Warren Theater. Right, if you know Moore, the big water tower right by I-35 and 4th Street. That's the area where this tornado passed through that Jim Gardner was tracking. They have reports of some roof damage, roofs off of homes in that area. Debris in the road on Telephone Road, and they are calling for assistance on Eastern because they have perhaps an injury, accident, or car that was overturned with someone in it on Eastern in the 300 block there and more. So it's very chaotic down there again.
Wow, it's just hard to believe it is. It's happened again. 2 years, not even 2 years later, and another tornado goes through more. Okay, this storm, folks, it's not finished yet. This thing is still cranked up. Val Castor, again, he's in baseball-sized hail right now. I tell you what, you folks in Twin Lakes, the Grand Casino, a lot of folks at the casino right now. I don't know what the tornado plan is for the casino. I don't even know if the casino has a plan. You need to come up with one, all right? Because this thing is capable of producing another tornado, and it's going to give you some baseball-sized hail. Val Castor has baseball-sized hail. Let's get an update from him. Val, give us an update on what you got.
Well, yeah, David, that's exactly right. Baseball-sized hail, we just now ran out of it. We're just now at Peebly Road, but for about the last 4 miles, we've had tennis ball and baseball-sized hail. As a matter of fact, it just broke my windshield also. Also, David, we just came out of the rain, so we're now able to see the cloud features here. And this storm does still have a lowering with it. It's still, like you said, has circulation and all that. So it needs to be watched. And we're traveling east on I-40. Back to you, David.
All right, great job, Val Castor, again with baseball-sized hail. And look at the hook. Hey, Val, can you hear me, Val?
Yeah.
Okay, look to your south and southeast. Okay, look to your south and look down towards Stella. The hook is redeveloping to your south quickly. It's redeveloping to your south quickly, right over Stella. Okay?
That's great information. Thank you. And you know what? Looking down that direction, that's kind of where we see that lowering. And it looks like it might be even getting a little bit bigger, too.
No, it is.
What's the movement on it, David?
It's right now, Val, it's moving almost due east, maybe a little bit east-southeast, okay? It's moving maybe a little bit east-southeast. Let's go to velocity mode here. And, Val, I know you can still hear me. Let's zoom into this, guys. Let's get some velocity data. That is that, okay? What you're looking at there, that's Val's shot, looking at this next area of spin. And, Val, the circulation's going to be about 3 miles to your south. Boy, look at the wind in here, guys. Look at the wind in there. That's impressive. Okay, is this our live? You're back to our live? Okay, give me a query on that. What's that, 90? 90 mile-an-hour winds. 90 mile-an-hour winds, moving away from the radar. Now, right here, Val, hey, Val, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, David.
Okay.
Go ahead.
All right, okay, Val, I've got well over 100 mile per hour shear now, just to your south. Keep going east, but keep looking to your south.
Good night.
Tell me if you.
That's a lot.
Yeah, tell me if you see anything. We're about 1,000 feet off the deck, but tell me if you see anything on the ground down there when you get out past that tree line there. All right, just.
Okay, I'm gonna pull off on Air Road up here. We're gonna look south, and we're gonna. There's nothing on the ground at the moment, David.
Okay. Well, it's not far from it. It's not far from it. Val's right here, and this is going to be South Peebly Road, southeast 149th. And again, right crossing South Peebly Road right now is where the circulation is. Okay, this is where it is, just to the south and southwest of Val. Just to the south and southwest of no tornado on the ground, but it continues to spin. Let's take Alan Brosie's shot full screen. We've got damage down in Moore. Let's go back to Moore, where we had multiple tornadoes today. And Alan, you're the first on the scene down there. You kind of looked around a little bit. What have you seen so far?
Okay, Okay, David, I'm at 4th and I-35. You wouldn't believe it if I told you what I've been through today. Right now I'm at 4th and I-35 on an accident. Well, it's not even an accident. This is wind damage. These vehicles were rolled. Semi-tractor trailer rolled. Pickup truck rolled and on top of the center median, forcing another car into the median. We have wind damage down here, David. I'm going to try to get off the highway. And OHP is trying to get me off the highway, too. So I'll let you know what I find here about 4th and Santa Fe, David. Back to you.
All right. And again, like Alan said, that is wind damage. Basically, that's tornado damage. The tornado crossed pretty much right there over an hour ago when Jim Gardner had it live on the air from Bob Mills, Sky News 9 HD. So, wow, hard to believe that Moore had another tornado. I still can't believe it. Okay, let's go back to Storm Shield 9, and we'll be checking back in with our crews. Here's the hook. Now, east of Stella, Val's here. Possible tornado developing now east of Stella. Here's Hera. Hera, right now, there's nothing headed your way except large hail and damaging winds, okay? The tornado threat now is going to be in between Stella, Twin Lakes, and look at the hook. Look at the hook, really trying to spin back on itself. Let's go to velocity mode here and take a closer look at what's going on in velocity. Wow, well, that's impressive. It really is. Okay, circulation now. Straight south of Val, about 3 miles. 3 miles south of Val. Circulation continues there. Girls, let's back out just a bit. Let's back out here. Lacey and Cassie, let's see what's going on. Here's Shawnee. Here's Tecumseh. You folks in Shawnee, okay, I want to point out circulation, and it's impressive. This could produce a tornado at any time, okay? Val's looking right at it. He does not have a tornado on the ground. But I tell you what, here's the deal. If I'm in Shawnee, or if I live from Shawnee up to I-40, and this is coming towards my house, I'm going to my safe spot right now. Why mess with it? Go to your safe spot, center part of the house, lowest level. Again, if you live in a mobile home, you got to get out of it. You got to leave it. You can't stay and have this come on in. But this thing is really, really spinning now. Very impressive now, just southwest of Twin Lakes. Let's put shear rate on there and see what we get out of that. If we can. It's too close to the radar. It's right over the radar. Okay, let's go back to velocity mode one more time and take a look. Grand Casino, Twin Lakes. Look at that. Looks like a mini hurricane going on. Look at the spin going on. Possible tornado just south of Val. Check with Val, see if he has anything on the ground. Let's just make sure. Because I tell you what, the numbers in here, the numbers are pretty strong. See if he has anything on the ground, if he can see that. Let's see what he has down there. Okay, let's go to Kelly Ogle. Kelly's got a little more update on the news. Boy, a lot of damage out there today, Kelly.
I'm telling you, these are eerie reminders of what we have been through down in Moore. Listening on the scanner and hearing natural gas leaks around Janeway and Main Street, Markham and Main Street. These are all streets we reported in the past during tornado events like this. Also the 1000 block of Southeast 6th Street, roofs off of homes in that area. So it looks like 4th Street across I-35 seems to be just in the area where this thing crossed, and that would be just to the north, less than a half a mile to the north of the Warren Theater. Our Justin Doherty is at Southwest 4th and I-35 right now. I think he can join us. Justin?
We're on I-35 near Southeast 4th Street, and right now we just spoke with OHP officers, and EMSA is arriving to a scene where a semi has overturned and also a pickup truck is on its hood. And we spoke with OHP, and they said this is all weather related. They said the wind has picked up this semi and picked up this truck and flipped the semi on its side and the pickup on its hood. Now, they did say that they haven't much other reports of damage besides wind damage, but as far as structure damage, they have not heard much. But they did say this accident right here on I-35 and Southeast 4th Street in Moore is weather related. So we will continue to monitor this scene. EMSA did just arrive right now. No word yet on the drivers, but OHP is here and so is EMSA. And again, we are on I-35 near Southeast 4th Street in Moore. Reporting live, Justin Doherty, News 9.
Good job out there, Justin. I just got off the phone with Jeremy Lewis. He's with the Moore Police Department. He says there are multiple structural damages, several overturned vehicles, as you just saw there in Justin's live shot, mostly vehicle and roof damages. No reports of any injuries right now, but we will continue to stay with them and keep you updated on that. So I also tried to call the mayor, Glenn Lewis, there, but no cell phone service. So if you're trying to get a hold of, I couldn't get a hold of him, and if you're trying to get a hold of relatives there and you're not able to, that's most likely why no cell service down there and more.
These accidents on I-35, David, they look so familiar to what we have seen in the past. And again, this is just a little, I'm talking maybe a quarter of a mile south of the track of the last big tornado in Moore. And it crossed right at 4th Street, right by the water tower. And it looks like it went over to the east side of Moore, near Highland East Junior High, and not that far from Moore High School as it was beginning to dissipate. But Jim Gardner showed us there's just those power lines just going off, those transformers going, everything just shutting off down there. And so there's substantial amount of damage and some injuries and more now. A little bit on the timeline, been trying to put together just a little bit of how this has happened. About 5:10 this afternoon, Hank reported the first small tornado out near Colony in western Oklahoma. Same time, Tulsa was dealing with a tornado up around Keystone Lake that did some damage up there. 6:25, we had power flashes out by Yukon. 10 minutes later, probably a tornado in the area of 10th and Rockwell, by all indications. And then Jim Gardner showed us that tornado at Northeast 12th on the west side of I-35 in Moore at 6:35 tonight, and tracked that thing all the way across to the east side of Moore, and it was something to see. David?
Yeah. Okay, guys, you know, it's amazing. And again, so now we are doing it again with more damage. And in the Moore area, that tornado hit it live on the air from Jim Gardner, and it was just hard to believe that it was unfolding right before us. And it was a far cry from what we've had in the past down in Moore, but still nonetheless, it was serious enough that we have damage, we have injuries, we have at least 1 or 2 automobiles that have been flipped. And to get an automobile to flip, you got to get winds, you know, in excess of 100 miles an hour for sure to get that to happen. So that's pretty amazing. Okay, so that storm that went through Moore is there. Moore still getting hammered, okay, with wind and hail and rain and lightning and thunder. But the tornado threat for Moore, it's not there anymore, okay? None of that going on in Moore. It's just a mess down there. There's damage. There's a lot of rescue folks going into the area. And it's a bad scene right now, trying to get everything figured out, okay? They're just trying to pick up the pieces. They're just trying to get into town right now with the emergency crews and power companies and things like that. So it's going to be a long evening and another long night for the folks in the next couple of days for Moore for sure. The next storm, Tuttle, down to the southwest, that's headed towards Blanchard. That's headed towards Norman. Both these storms are actually, they're moving east now at about 30 miles per hour. Let's go back into this storm here. Quickly here, hang on. Edmond, you're done. It's over. Arcadia, the Village, again, these storms they're winding down for you. The main severe threat now, large hail damaging winds, isolated tornadoes, still possible from that storm, from that storm, and from that storm. From these 3 storms in our viewing area, and possibly this one a little bit later. But right now, 1, 2, 3 supercells that we are tracking, and these things continue to march off to the east. Okay, let's zoom back into the lead storm first. And again, it's headed towards Shawnee. You folks in Shawnee, no tornado warning in effect. That doesn't mean anything, all right, at this point, because these things can spin so quickly. Val Castro's out ahead of it, and he's looking right at it. Shawnee right here, OBU here. Marty Logan's coming south. Bobby Payne's right here looking right at it, back to the west. Do any of those guys, let's see, Bobby Payne. Boy, let's take Bobby Payne's shot, full screen control room. Take Bobby Payne's shot. He's in Shawnee. See his GPS? Let's take Bobby Payne's shot. And look at the plates. Look at the plates on that storm. Look at that, folks. That is spectacular. That is a supercell. That is a rotating thunderstorm that Bobby Payne is looking right at. And this thing could produce a tornado. This is going to come into Shawnee. You folks in Shawnee, it's coming, all right? Large hail and damaging winds for sure, okay? Let's go quickly back to Storm Shield 9. Let me show you what it looks like on radar here. Storm Shield 9 on this. And here's Shawnee. There's the first hook that's going to head towards Shawnee. Let's go back. Hang on. I know. We'll get to more. Hang on a second, guys. Let's go back to Norman. This storm is turning as well. Let's go back to Norman. OU, campus of OU. Let's zoom in here a little bit closer, guys. Zoom in. There's OU campus. There's downtown Norman. There's the Lloyd Noble Center. A hook possibly developing where Hank is. We need to check in with Hank. Okay, what does Hank have? We need to check in with Hank, see what he's got. Okay, he's got the lowering. All right, I see that. Hang on, is that a funnel? Is that a funnel coming from Hank? Okay, hasn't said. Let's check in with Hank. Okay, that's going to move through more Norman, quarter, golf ball size hail, winds 60 to 70 miles per hour. All right, now let's go to the next storm down the line. Let's go to the next storm. Let's back to the southwest. And the third storm lined up here, Blanchard, Middleburg. Here you go, new area of spin. Again, going down just north of Highway 33. You folks in Dibble, this is going to be pretty close to you. It's going to come into town here shortly. So 3 supercells going on. There's a lot going on for sure. But right now, as of right now, no confirmed tornadoes on the ground. We've had plenty today, but no tornadoes on the ground right now. Let's go back now to more, check in with Justin. And he is right in the middle of some of that intense damage from that tornado from a little bit earlier. Justin, go ahead.
Reba, you were driving this pickup truck here on its hood here at I-35 and Southeast 4th Street. Now, if you could tell me again what happened. You were slowly driving down I-35 and...
Well, actually, it wasn't real slow. It was probably 50 miles an hour. It was bright daylight, but I could see dark on my side, on my right side. I saw debris start spinning on the road, you know, like pieces of paper and stuff, and my ears started pressure, and then bam, it hit me, and it turned black. I felt glass breaking, and I was on the top sliding across.
You have a few cuts on your nose and head. How are you feeling right now?
I feel fine. My knees are hurting. I'm cold. I'm worried about my purse. I can't get my purse. But I think I'm okay.
Yeah, and looking at your truck on its hood now, you know, what's going through your mind at this moment as you're here with OHP officers?
I'm very fortunate. I mean, the truck took care of me. Side airbags went off. OnStar called me. I hung upside down until somebody got here, and they asked me if I could press the button, and it dropped me then. So I guess I'll have to get something else to drive.
Reba, thank you very much. Again, guys, we're here at I-35 and Southeast 4th Street. We have record crews on scene now, and they are picking up this pickup truck. Reba, you heard her. She's doing okay, and OHP will stay on scene until these two vehicles, the semi-truck and this pickup truck, are clear. Reporting live and more, Justin Doherty, News 9.
All right, great job. Again, Justin down in Moore. And again, that lady was in that pickup. She had no idea what was coming, and that can happen. She was driving. And again, the winds in this tornado were not that strong, but it doesn't take a whole lot to pick up a vehicle. That's why we tell you not to flee, okay? Now, she wasn't doing that, all right? I'm not getting on her. She was not fleeing. She was just driving and had no idea the tornado was developing just to her west. But this is exactly why you don't get in a vehicle, you don't get in a car and drive north, south, east, or west. You don't do it. You shelter in place. You stay at home, because your car can be flipped like that. And that was a weak tornado. That was a weak tornado. Imagine what the EF3s and the EF4s and the EF5s are going to do to your car. They're going to pick it up and they're going to carry it, and you're not going to survive being in a vehicle in a car. You're not going to be able to survive that, okay? Vehicles are like toys. They get picked up so easily. Like today, she got picked up. She's been thrown. She's upside down. She's not really hurt seriously. But that's why we say you shelter in place, you stay at home, you don't flee. Now, again, she wasn't fleeing. She wasn't one of those. Okay, here's what's going on right now. 1, 2, 3 areas of circulation. This storm has weakened. Good news there coming into Blanchard. The storm in Norman is still strong, still severe. These storms are all severe, but the rotation has declined a little bit. And I'm still concerned about this storm over here now on I-40, okay? By the way, big storm in Chandler, headed up towards Stroud. It's going to eventually pound Prague from the west. And anywhere in this line, quarters and golf ball size hail. These storms have produced baseball size hail today in Oklahoma City. Val Castor had it on his vehicle. He said baseball size hail today. All right, let's zoom into this storm here. And let's start out with the most intense storm. We'll work our way back down to Norman and more here in just a second. Let's zoom on in. And let's take a look at this. And I think this is Val Castor shot up to the left there. And Val's right here. Val basically is where the Grand Casino is on I-40. We all know where that is. Circulation's to his south, and it continues to weaken. But I want to point out, say that again?
That is Hank Shot.
Okay, that's Hank Shot. Okay, he's in the Southwest Metro. Okay, we're tracking that too. We're tracking those other storms. But Val's right here. Looking at this, and again, a little bit of an area of circulation northeast of McLeod near Jacktown, but nothing tornadic with this. And the old area, or it's been old, it's been new, it's been back and forth, running between Twin Lakes, down Highway 102, headed towards Tecumseh, headed towards Shawnee, headed towards OBU. You folks in OBU, you folks in Shawnee, all of Shawnee, you're going to get hail. You're going to get either nickel, dime, quarter, maybe even some golf ball size hail. Let's put our Barron button on. Let's turn one of the other buttons on here and take a look at some of the hail sizes if we can. There it is. That's going to be golf ball size hail. That's going to be golf ball size hail there for sure. So there it is, moving from west to east, coming into Shawnee, coming into OBU. And again, this is a hailstorm here right now. The tornado threat from this, it's still there, but it's dropped off some. Look at that shot there. Whose shot is this down in Moore? Do we know? That's Alan Brosie's shot. Okay, let's take it full. Let's get an update from Alan on that shot. Alan, looks to me like the house is still there, but the roof is gone.
Yeah, David, this tornado's path was about 75 yards wide. Now, the damage does extend beyond that, but during that 75-yard wide path, trees were topped. A lot of the older trees in the just west of 4th and Santa Fe area have been uprooted. Who remembers the 3 antennas from KOMA? Well, there's one half of an antenna left. 2 of them are gone, and the other half is hanging off of it. Very, very powerful, but very short, narrow, wide path, David. And like I said, I'm going through a neighborhood here. This house has lost its roof. There are others with heavy damage. But anyway, David, I'm going to roam through here and see if I can help some people out. Back to you.
All right, great job, Alan Brosie. And again, there's a home down in there. There's several homes, but this one without the roof. Down in Moore, tornado damage in Moore. We had several tornadoes live on the air moving through Moore. Let's go back and zoom in with this shot here, and then we'll go to Justin. Let's zoom in to Norman. And I want to point out Norman, north sides of Norman, Norman Regency Hospital, regional hospital there. Storm moved through you. There's 24th Street Avenue Northeast. That is basically South Air Depot. And there's 48th Avenue, again, running from Lake Stanley Draper off to the south. 72nd Avenue south from there as well. There's Imhoff right in here, Lloyd Noble here. So really, the brunt of the severe weather has been from basically the middle and northern sides of Moore. Some circulation with this. Let's turn on the shear rate real quick, see where we are on that. Just make sure there's nothing too crazy going on the shear rate. No, we're doing okay. Circulation is still there. It's still there. There's no doubt about it. It's still turning, but the tornado threat right now, it's not that high. Okay, let's go back to the southwest. Keep it on shear rate. Let's go back down here again. Let's see what we have going on. And Hank's right here looking at this storm. Let's go back to reflectivity mode, and let's see what the rain and the hail looks like here. And there's Middleburg. Hail core now, just southwest of Middleburg, coming up Highway 62. It's moving due east. If you folks live in Blanchard, if you live in basically Goldsby, Cole, Dibble, hail core's coming your way. It's going to be a west wind, maybe 60, maybe 70 miles an hour with quarter and golf ball size hail. Might even have some baseball size hail with that. So, again, those storms continue to be severe. South Metro, they continue to march off to the east. A lot going on. We'll take a quick break. I know you guys have more at the news desk.
He has moved over just a bit to, we understand, Telephone Road and 4th Street. Folks, this is just on the north side of the Warren Theater complex. Let's go to Justin for the update. Justin?
I was coming down 4th Street right there on Main, and when I seen just a dust cloud and some debris in the air, I didn't see a funnel, actual funnel, just dust cloud debris.
Were you home at the time?
No.
Guys, if we can bring his sound back up.
How are you guys doing?
Everything's fine. I'll say all I've seen so far is tree damage, some carports and stuff were laying over, and that's about it.
Okay, and you were here and more at the time of the tornado. You saw it. Okay, and what did you see exactly?
Just a dust cloud and some debris in the air. No actual funnel. I didn't see the funnel itself, but I just seen debris cloud and debris on the ground. Just a cloud on the ground.
What was going through your head as soon as you saw it?
Don't go into it. I was head straight forward, and it was right there on 4th Street, and I was on Main, and Broadway right there.
Yeah, and you're doing okay? Your house is okay?
Everything's fine.
All right, well, thank you very much.
To make sure, because I'll say,
yep,
the truck damage and stuff, it doesn't look like it.
Yeah, well, thank you very much.
Y'all have a nice day.
Yep, guys, that was a Moore resident who was driving into Moore at the time, and now here's some of the debris and some of the destruction that we've seen so far. Some massive trees completely torn in half. They've been uprooted, and also we're going to flip the camera around right here, and this is a massive tower that is now just bent in practically in half, and now the top part of the tower is bent over, and so we are getting ready to make our way now, and we are at Southeast 4th Street and Janes Way, and right now that is what we are seeing, and we're going to continue to keep heading west on Southeast 4th Street, guys. That's what we have in Moore right now. Justin Doherty reporting live.
That is one of those KOMA towers that Alan was talking about a moment ago. There used to be 3 down there. Now it looks like there's part of 1 left.
Yeah, very well maybe why, poor cell reception and a lot of the towers like that might be why our picture's kind of going in and out, and the sound as well.
There's a lot of damage right there in that area that is just to the north of the Warren Theater complex. That is 4th Street, the busy street on the north side of Warren. I mean, this is the strangest thing, the way these tornadoes have chosen this path to go through over the last, well, since 1999, really, in that vicinity.
Yeah, and you heard him near Telephone Road. I mean,
all those names come back to you.
Yeah.
Janeway, Markham. This path is, David, this path, and I was just looking at them online, although this one was moving a little bit to the southeast, it wasn't following the exact same course. It did cross I-35 almost at the same location.
Yeah, it did. Pretty close, yeah, right, real close to the Warren Theater again.
Yeah.
Right, no, absolutely. Again, that was moving from the northwest to the southeast, and obviously the May 3rds and the May 20th of 2013. That tornado was moving basically from the west to the east. So this storm came in from the northwest and really pushed in from the northwest and then made a turn and then moved more easterly as it got a little bit deeper into more. But it did cross the same path but basically that May 20th did in 2013. So, wow. All right, Oklahoma City, we are about through with this severe weather. We're about through with it in Oklahoma County, all right? But it's still going on, and that's why we're on the air continuously now. Shawnee, boy, get ready. It's coming into town here shortly. Marty Logan, Valcaster, Bobby Payne, they're right there looking at it. Norman now, thunderstorms are pushing east of you, but there's more storms to your west. Now, the storms to your west, good news here, they have weakened just a bit. Hey, before we do that, we need to let's go to TLX real quick. Let's kind of change radars and jump into southwest Oklahoma real quick here. I want to... it's not technically in our viewing area, but it is, but it isn't, but we need to address it. Thunderstorms down here, again, west of Lawton. They are severe. Down here, nickel and dime, quarter-size hail now coming into the northern sides of Lawton. That storm down there is severe. It is headed towards Rush Springs. It's headed towards Marlow and Bray, and then eventually Lindsay, Pauls Valley, it will be headed towards you. So we got to watch that, okay? And this storm down here has quite a bit of energy, still fuel left in the atmosphere to get this storm to possibly do something as it moves farther east this evening. So that's why we have to keep watching this as it marches from west to east, okay? Headed towards Marlow, for sure. Headed towards Rush Springs. It'll cross Rush Springs, or it'll cross Highway 81 here in about another hour or so. It has weakened, it looks like, maybe a little bit, which is good news. Okay, let's come back to the north. We want to keep an eye on this storm right here, guys. Let's come back to the north here. And, by the way, our team of trackers, looking at Bobby's shot. I see that. There's Marty's shot and Val's shot. Okay. All right, we'll take one of them here just a second. Let's zoom into this storm headed towards Purcell. This is beginning to kind of bow out a little bit. See the bow beginning to develop. So along that, more damaging winds possible coming into Cole, coming into Noble. Let's see some of the wind speeds here. Yeah, we'll get winds back in here to 60 miles per hour, headed towards Cole, Blanchard, Dibble. Damaging winds here. It's going to march east, come into Noble, Purcell, and that's going to be the next storm down the line. That one storm now leaving Norman, headed towards, it's coming through Lake Thunderbird right now. Let's zoom into this area, guys. Let's come back to the Norman area and zoom on in. Severe storm here, winds 70 miles per hour possible. Nickel and dime, quarter-size hail. The hail sizes, looks like they might have come down a little bit, but not much. I think nickel and dime, quarter, maybe even golf ball size hail for sure out of that storm. That's the way it looks right now. Let's put shear rate on, and let's just see what it looks like. Let's go to one of our other products here, and we're being attenuated by rain, but still, okay. Let's go east with shear rate. Let's go over to the Shawnee area, and let's see if we have any more spin going on here that we need to be concerned about. Okay, all right, there's what we got going on. Bobby Payne and Marty Logan are both almost there together. Let's take one of their shots full. They're in Shawnee. Here's what's coming into Shawnee right now, and to Shawnee about ready to get hammered. Let's take, that's Marty. Marty Logan's shot. Marty, is that area there, is that lowering, is that spinning right now?
Well, we're on the south side right now, and still in town trying to get south of it. We're looking back to back towards Moore, back towards Bethel Acres right now. Just dark white cloud, and we're in a bunch of housing areas, so we're going to get out of town here and see what we got coming in at us. Got a strong north wind. We've had strong west winds. And I heard Val a while ago talking about the funnel just west of, or east of Oklahoma City. So we're just keeping an eye on things out here right now. We're getting some rain, no hail yet. Back to you.
All right, Marty Logan again in Shawnee. Let's take Bobby Bobby Payne's shot. And Bobby, is that turning at all? Like, it's hard to tell from here. Is that rotating, or is that just an updraft lowering there?
David, it is just an updraft lowering, and it's not really organized. Look, I have really strong northwest winds right now, so I think it's more outflow from the storm itself. But I am not seeing any organized lowering or rotation right now. Back to you, David.
All right, great job. But the bottom line is that Shawnee is still going to get hammered from Shawnee north back up to I-40, back up to Meeker with wind and hail and winds to 70 miles an hour and maybe even some golf ball size hail out of this, even though the tornado threat right now has dropped off quite a bit. Okay, let's get a Storm Shield 9. And here's what it looks like on Storm Shield 9 control room. There's that storm that Bobby's on, Val's on, Marty's on. And Hank's back in here on this storm that just rolled through Norman. It's still severe, coming into Lake Thunderbird right now. Severe storm, large hail, damaging winds, headed towards Pink, headed towards Macomb, headed towards Tecumseh. And then the next storm, this really is the strongest storm right now between Blanchard and Middleburg right now, actually east of Middleburg, between Blanchard and Highway 39. That storm down there is going to have at least quarters and golf balls, maybe even some baseball size hail with that. And that's going to go right into Purcell. All right, you folks in Purcell, get ready for some large hail and damaging winds, okay? So if you know anybody in Purcell, call them, warn them, let them know what's going on. Severe storm coming your way. I want to point out some good news here is that the cold front has pushed now well south and east, all right? At least the boundary has. Now, that didn't work earlier. The cold front actually was undercutting these storms, and they outran. Okay, when they get behind the cold front, they have a hard time producing tornadoes. But that El Reno storm was on the boundary, and what it did is it kind of sped up a little bit and got out ahead of the front. Not by much, but enough to make all the difference in the world and give us those multiple tornadoes down in more. So severe storm moving through Norman, coming into Lake Thunderbird, coming into Pink, eventually Macomb, eventually St. Louis, and then from there up to Earlsboro, Tecumseh. You're going to get hammered as well as this storm again comes in from the west. Okay, so here comes the next storm, again to the southwest, and to this storm, pretty intense. But right now, what I like about this storm is that the tornado threat from it, by looking at it on radar, it's just not there. It's not zero, but it's just not there. The spinning in the atmosphere we look for, it's not there. There's a little bit of shear. Let's see, a little bit of shear back in here, a little bit. Not much, though. Nothing that we're jumping out of windows over, okay? So that's a good sign. It's still capable, though, of large hail and damaging winds. See that blue line right there? That's the actual gust front. We need that to keep going south. We need this cooler air to keep coming in, and that'll kill the tornado threat, okay? Earlier, that storm outran that, or basically caught up to it, and that's why we were able to get that tornado going on down in Moore. And cold front wasn't behind it by much, but it was behind it by enough. Okay, team of trackers. Val Castor, let's see, who shot that? That's Val. Let's take Val, shot live. Val circulation coming into town right now, but it's fairly weak. Nothing like what it was a little bit ago. We're still tracking it, though. Give us an update.
Yeah, David, that's kind of what our conclusion we came to, that it might have weakened somewhat now. We are in Shawnee, and we're headed east, and trying to stay out ahead of it. Right now, the core is starting to overstress. We've got nickel and maybe quarter-size hail that's falling right now. Nothing nearly as big or as bad as the baseballs we had earlier that cracked my windshield. But nonetheless, the storm is still here. It does have a significant base with it, but last time we got to see the base, I could not detect any rotation, kind of like what Bobby was saying earlier. But we're going to stay with it. Back to you, David.
All right, great job. Val Castor again in Shawnee. Large hail, damaging winds coming into Shawnee. Here's what it looks like on Storm Shield. The hail core, I'll tell you this, good news for Shawnee. The hail core to your west weakened a little bit. The hail core now is just north of OBU. Right here. See that? That's the hail core 1, 2, 3 miles north of OBU. That's going to be some golf ball, maybe even some baseball size hail with that. That's the same storm, by the way, that produced multiple tornadoes in Moore. Okay, so how about that? Okay, let's go back to the west now. Let's back out just a bit. Let's go back west and also back out, kind of get the big overview. Oklahoma City, as we've been saying, no more severe weather for us. We might have had at least one or a couple of brief tornado touchdowns in the southwest metro where Val was earlier, from Bethany down to southwest Oklahoma City as that one cell came through, and then it really cranked up as it dropped in down to the Moore area. But I think we have at least 1 or 2 touchdowns of the tornado in south and west Oklahoma City, and then we know we have multiple tornado touchdowns down in Moore. We had that live on the air with all the debris in the air and power flashes and all that going on down there. Strongest storm in the state is going to be the one where Val is, the one down in Moore, east of Moore, east sides of Moore, East Norman. It continues to weaken a little bit. And the strongest storm now, it looks like right now, is going to be coming into western McLean County, and that's going to be west of Purcell. West of Purcell, severe storm there going on for sure. Let's back out a little bit more here, guys. Oklahoma City, Oklahoma County, we're just about out of this. We're just about in the clear. Rain now ending the West Metro, drying out in El Reno. Might have a few more showers around later this evening or tonight, but the severe weather will be along and east of this line. So Pauls Valley, back to Ada. Henrietta, Kiowa, down to Atoka, Duncan, Marlow and Duncan, back to Ninnekah. Storms just rolled through Chickasha with a little wind and hail down there. Guys, now storm clearing Oklahoma County, but we're still tracking the severe weather to the south and southeast of Oklahoma City. Guys, back to you.
All right, David, great work by your team out there. And the news department is continuing to track the damage down in Moore. Just heard a moment ago that the Moore Police Department, fire departments are really scrambling now. They're good at this because they've had so much experience. Sure. They've moved brush pumpers in charge of power lines that are down so that the engines can take on injury accidents and other medical calls.
Yes.
So it's pretty chaotic down in Moore right now.
Yeah, we've got Jim Wenham on the phone. He's with IMSA. Jim, are you with us?
Yes, ma'am.
What can you tell us about the calls and the different reports that you're getting in?
From reports in Oklahoma City, we'll start with the Oklahoma City area. IMSA responded to a report of 3 individuals that had sustained some weather-related injuries around southwest 119th Western area. That could have been from debris from the winds or being cut from debris or something along those lines. It's my understanding right now, and this is preliminary information, that these were minor injuries. I don't have where they were transported yet or if they were transported. So that information is still coming in, and they're still down in the area working closely with firefighters, law enforcement areas to make sure that no one else is injured. And additionally, the Moore area, which is covered by Midwest City Ambulance Service, we've mutuated at least 3 calls into that area for patients that may have been involved in motor vehicle accidents or in some storm-related injuries. I don't have clear information on what their injuries were, but I do know at least 6 patients directly related to the storm that we have treated at this time. Again, that's preliminary information. We're still in the damaged areas, assisting and looking if there may be other people that are injured, and that's the extent of the information that I have right now. There was also some information that was put out about the Moore Emergency Department may have been closed. We have not heard that. I did receive some information from the state just a few moments ago that they sustained some minor awning damage. Everything was fine, that they were open and accepting patients, was the latest information that I've received. So it's an ongoing, it's an unfolding incident that we're staying on top of, and thank goodness the bad weather seems to be passing out of the area now. Absolutely. Jim Wenham with IMSA. We appreciate the update. It looks like even though we did have a tornado go right through the metro area again today, it does not look like it was extremely powerful, although where it hit, it did some damage. Sure, it sure did. And at least 6 injuries reported as a result of possibly that storm. We just heard from Jim. And we also have Jessica Hawley. She is live down in Moore on 4th and Telephone Road, I believe. Do we have Jessica? Jess, if you can hear us, go ahead. I think we might be having some trouble with Jessica. Once you guys try to get hooked back up with her, I can tell you right now, I've been checking the outages, and the last outage count I saw, as I go through my notes here, 33,000. I think it's still going up. 33,000 in the metro. That's 33,000 homes and businesses. About 6,500 homes and businesses in Moore. I'm surprised it's that low because they were talking about 2 miles of power lines down over off of Santa Fe and 119th Street, stretching all the way back to Penn. And then those power outages, those power lines are down on the east side of I-35 as well. Yeah. So they're pretty widespread. Oklahoma City as well. More than 16,000 people, Oklahoma City Metro, without power. War Acres, a couple thousand there. A few in El Reno, Mustang, and of course more, around 6,500. And there's Alan Brosey's shot of a house that has lost its roof. I think Alan, if Alan's live and can hear us right there, boy, there's still lightning going on down there. Alan, if you can hear us, are you in that 4th and Janeway area? 4th and Telephone Road. He's near Janeway then. Okay. Well, we are having some technical challenges down there. It's not surprising. There are a lot of electrical issues going on with cell phone towers and power lines down, and
It's just a mess down there, but we're trying to get people reestablished and give you the best shots that we can. It seems like from what we have seen so far and from what we saw from the chopper when the tornado was passing through, that it came from the Penn area over around 119th Street and was kind of tracking slightly to the east-southeast at that point, crossed I-35 just south of the Warren Theater again, where all those homes have been rebuilt on the east side of I-35, and I'm hoping they're okay. But we know there are houses that are damaged. Just came not too far from Highland East Junior High, not that far from Moore High School, really. And then on off to the east, and Jim was still tracking it out by Lake Thunderbird when it finally dissipated out there.
You know, a lot of those homes in that area haven't even been rebuilt or are even complete yet.
They're just now being finished.
Right,
yeah.
right. And you can see a lot of the damage there. The uprooted trees. One of Justin's live shots, you could see one of the towers had been snapped. Of course, a lot of roof damage, overturned vehicles.
What's that shot we're looking at there, guys? Is that the towers down in Moore? That's what? Oh, that's our roof cam. Okay, just a shot of the clearing clouds here a little bit. And you can see the rain still going on out east. We've had, as Jolene reported, 6 injuries reported by IMSA. We're checking with Midwest City to see if they have any additional injuries because Midwest City Ambulance does handle the Moore area. You see a lot of roofing material on the ground, a lot of debris. Look at some of the trees are shredded there. Michael Johnston, is that Michael's shot right there? Michael, can you talk to us?
Photojournalist Michael Johnston. I don't know if he can hear us. We're having problems, with electronic cell coverage. But you can see him zooming in and out there. I don't know if he knows we've got a shot up, but you're getting a
little bit of
real
news,
view here.
Little bit of news in the raw. There's some of the power lines.
Sure.
This tornado again that moved through Moore really crossed that I-35 area around 6:35. So it was back on the west side of Moore around 6:30. And boy, when it went through, it put on a fireworks show as it was tearing through those power lines. And in fact, we've covered a lot of big tornadoes and seen them from the air like that, but I don't think I've ever seen so many power flashes as we did with that one. There were sparks flying everywhere. Fences down now. And we're curious also when we get hold of Jessica Holly, if she can tell us if she smells any of that mercaptan, the chemical that's added to natural gas so that you can tell if it's leaking or not, because there were some concerns about gas leaks down there and broken meters down there as well. So guys, give us a heads up when we have Jessica Holly.
We do have Adriana Iwashinsky. I believe we have, there she is. Can you tell us where you are, Adriana?
Yeah, Jolene, we are here on Rockwell Avenue, very near Northwest 10th Street. In fact, the intersection we're at right now is Northwest 7th and Rockwell Avenue. As you can see behind me, we have a lot of damage from where this storm started. We've got tree limbs down. We have trees that have been actually split in two. We see lots of fences that are down, you can see here. But take a look up there. You see that aluminum up in the trees? That was actually someone's carport. And the wind or small tornado picked that thing up, ripped it apart, and threw it up into the air, and that is what is left of that. In fact, I talked to the homeowner who said he had just put that in a year ago. It had just been painted. It was very sturdy. It's up there right now. Now, a lot of the folks in this neighborhood have been walking around, taking in all of the damage. They're finding lots of trees down, lots of branches down. We have seen some cars damaged from this storm as well. In fact, I'm joined here now by Angela, who lives at this corner house, which has a lot of fence damage. They have a tree down in their front yard, too. And you were inside when this storm hit this area. Can you describe what happened?
Yes, ma'am. It was real frightening. I'm kind of still shooken up. It seemed like it happened very fast. It was like me and my daughter, we heard like a choo-choo train sound, and my house started shaking, so we kind of got in the closet in the front of my house, and it's like everything just went black, but everything was just hitting glass and hitting. I could tell that it was I knew that it was a small tornado, but it happened very quickly. It was fast, very quick, and it's just damaged. My fireplace caught on fire, and oh my God, I'm just kind of shooken up. But it was very fast. I just know it was a small tornado.
Yeah. And you say this damage is showing that not straight line winds, but you're pretty sure that's what it sounded like.
Yeah, I don't think it was damaging winds. I just believe it was a tornado because I heard a choo-choo train sound. And it's it was real loud, and my house started vibrating, shaking, and in my back patio something hit it, and then like my fireplace caught on fire, so I know it was like a tornado.
And when you saw all of this damage when you walked outside, I mean, you say there actually used to be a barn across the street, right?
Where the horses be out and things like that, and it's totally like knocked down. You can't even see it anymore. Like the barn is totally gone.
Okay, but you're okay. Your children are okay. Angela, thank you very much for talking. As you can hear, we have a lot of emergency crews that are responding to this area. Power is out along this stretch. We saw that the street lights are off. Power is out here, and people here are just checking in on their neighbors. Reporting live in Northwest Oklahoma City, Adriana Ivashinsky, News 9.
And as we were trying to keep the running total on that, it looked like that hit about 6:35 tonight, and we heard Oklahoma City Police Department. They were seeing the same thing Valcaster was over Lake Overholser, which is in that area, and they were saying we need to get those sirens on. And I think they did eventually get them on now. We've had a rough day here in the metro area, but the situation in Tulsa is even grimmer.
Yes, our sister station, KOTV, reporting 1 death and at least 30 people transported to the hospital. We also have Steve Shaw, who's, I think we have, there he is.
He's right.
Live
Southwest,
on the ground there. Where
Southwest 119th and May Avenue. Is that right, Steve?
Yeah, we're 119th and Western, and there's debris everywhere. Electricity's out. Take a look across the street. That's 7-Eleven across the street. Their whole set of windows and whatever, the glass just got blown out by this incredible burst of energy that happened about an hour ago. Look at the street. Look at Western. There's power lines in the street. Let's hope they're not active. There are dangling power lines above me. I better move over to the left so I'm not in danger. There's Conoco. There's debris everywhere. Folks are kind of wandering around and finding out what all got blown out. There's a lot of stuff that got blown out over here at 119th and Western, Kelly. I've seen some emergency vehicles try to get through. They are getting through at a slower pace. I also know we are at 119th and May, about a mile east of 119th and May. There's other lines down there, and there's an entrance to a nice neighborhood that's been blocked off by emergency crews and police, so I'm sure there's probably some damage in that area. I'm just telling you, there's a lot of power lines down, and that's kind of perplexing, and there's a lot of folks wanting some answers. I mean, I want to know whether these power lines are active or not, so it's a little dangerous out here right now. Back.
Yeah, thank you, Steve Shaw. He pointed out something, too, a lot of power lines down in that area, and a lot of people are tempted to get out and go drive around to see what's going on, what's damaged, but that's something to keep in mind when you get out and about.
30 minutes ago, more police department and more fire department were saying, please shut down the road because people are driving over hot power lines. And if you've never been in one of those areas, you don't necessarily know that's a rule, but it is. Anytime you see a power line that is down, you just stay away from it. You certainly don't drive over it, and you don't touch it in any way. Again, this tornado that moved through Moore hit about 6:35 tonight. Same time that one, or the winds or something, hit over 10th and Rockwell. We had this tornado moving through Moore from about, I'd say it probably must have touched down back around Penn and 119th, and then tracked right across Moore, almost west to east, tapering a little bit to the south, and then crossed I-35. That's where we had the semi rolled over, the truck that was rolled over, and injuries.
That's where Justin was just a few moments ago, and he's now moved. He's at Northwest 5th and Arnold. Justin?
In Arnold here and more, you can see behind me the roof of this home is completely gone. Now the houses around it, some shingles are lifted up, trees are broken and down, but there are two homes right next to each other here on Northwest 5th and Arnold here and more, where the roofs are completely gone. Now we just arrived on scene. Fire crews are here as well. There is a slight smell in the air, but these two homes that you can see right now, the roofs are completely gone. Other damage around the area, the roofs are out, shingles are up, and also there are several trees that are damaged. We've seen, now the police have shut this entire neighborhood down. They've got a perimeter. We have seen a lot of fences broken, a lot of fences gone, some sheds picked up and lifted and put in different yards and on top of fences, and that's the most of the damage that we've seen now. But again, behind me, several roofs are gone here at Northwest 5th and Arnold and more. We will continue to see exactly if these individuals who are inside this home are okay. We just arrived on scene. Fire crews are here, and police have set up a perimeter around this neighborhood here at Northwest 5th and Arnold here and more. Reporting live, Justin Doherty, News 9.
Okay, appreciate that. Good
All
job
right,
out
Justin.
there.
Yeah, that smell, again, is that mercaptan that they put in the natural gas. Natural gas has no odor, so they add that rotten egg smell to it so you can detect it.
I believe we also have Jeremy Lewis, the Moore Police Department, on the phone with us. Jeremy?
Yes.
Jeremy, what's the situation down there right now?
Right now, we have officers and firefighters in the areas that were damaged, searching those areas to make sure we don't have any injuries. We're asking that people stay out of the area from Santa Fe east to Janeway, from Southwest 4th north to Northwest 6th. That area is the area that took the most damage. We need people to stay away from that. That's closed down. There's a lot of debris, a lot of roofs that were taken off the houses. I believe the roof from Southgate Elementary School was also removed in that area. A lot of trees, and there are some gas lines that are still leaking, so we need people to stay out of that area.
Jeremy, can you give us those boundaries again real quick?
It's Santa Fe east to Janeway.
Right.
And Southwest 4th, which is the major street that comes through Moore, up to Northwest 6th.
Okay, up to Northwest 6th. All right. Jeremy, I mean, you guys have been through a lot of these, and this did not appear to be an extremely powerful tornado or large, but where it hit, it did quite a bit of damage, didn't it?
Well, it was very unexpected, and yes, it appears that it did. In one area, the area that I just gave you, it did do a lot of damage to several homes, numerous homes in that area. It removed the entire roofs, and there's structure damage on other houses in that area. So there is another part of the city that does have some damage that we're still looking at around Southwest 4th and Tower, but nothing closed in that area at this time.
Do you have a rough number on how many structures, homes were damaged?
We don't. That's a very dense area. That's a main neighborhood. It's a fairly older neighborhood in the part of Moore, the northwest part of Moore, but there are numerous houses in that area, and also, like I said, Southgate Elementary School is also in that area.
Sergeant Jeremy Lewis with us from the Moore Police Department. Jeremy, I got to ask you, as you watch this thing coming through, I mean, what are you thinking when you see this again?
To be honest with you, I was at home, and I was actually watching David talking. I heard him say that there was a tornado on the ground, but the last report I heard is that it was up north.
Right.
I believed it was somewhere up north. And then when they started saying that it was in Moore, I started trying to look to see where, try to get my boundaries. And once I actually noticed GFF Foods, it's just kind of a sinking feeling, knowing how much it takes to go through. Even a small tornado like this requires so much work. It's just an awful feeling, especially for the people. I know what they have to go through. There's an area in there that was hit in 2003.
Right.
This exact same area. So
that's that area along Janeway, right?
Right. And Santa Fe, right along Santa Fe and Northwest 6 was hit in 2002, 2003. So, a lot of these people have had to do this before, and it's just a bad feeling. Hey,
Jeremy, is there much damage on the east side of I-35 there in Moore?
I came in from the east side from way out east, and I didn't notice. Once I got to Eastern, we had numerous serious accidents on Eastern. It appeared a lot of head-on accidents. That's where some of the injuries did occur. The east side, we had some damage at Southeast 4th and Tower, which is an area that was damaged in the May 20th tornado. As far as the amount of damage, I have not heard back from the officers that are in that area yet.
And Sergeant, is there any place people can go who might be without electricity? Maybe the roof was blown off? Any place, maybe a shelter set up yet?
We are working on that right now. We have numerous people that are actually coming into the EOC right now that we are working. As soon as I get that information, I will get it to you guys.
Okay, we appreciate it. Sergeant Jeremy Lewis with the Moore Police Department. Let's go back out to Steve Shaw. He is near
Western and 119th.
Yes.
Steve?
119th and Kelly, we're 119th and Western, and if you don't have to be in this area, don't come out here. We don't need people who don't need to be out here trying to drive by to see what's going on. I can tell you what's going on. We got debris in the road. We got power lines in the road. We got people wandering around wanting to know what they can do. It's just not a good situation for people trying to drive by. Oh, let's just see what's going on. It's not going to help anything. We've got power lines still on the road. I can tell you traffic is way backed up. That's another reason to stay away from here right now. Let the emergency people take care of their business. We're just trying to get people in right places and trying to pick up the debris that's in. I mean, what is that thing in the middle of May? Or Western. I don't know what that is. It's in the middle of the road. It's just we're just kind of in a waiting mode out here, Kelly.
Steve, if you can hear me, do you have power lines down in the roadway there?
Yeah, Kelly, but I'm pretty confident the one above us is sturdy, but there are a lot of power lines down in this couple blocks, and there's power lines down going that way too. So there are power lines down everywhere. And you said something earlier that's very important. If you see a power line that's down, just assume it's hot. Don't touch it. Walk away from it. That's a good principle to have out here in this situation because you just don't know.
And Steve, we see headlights behind you, but we don't really see any other lights behind you. Is the rest of the area kind of blacked out where you are, or can you show us that? Well, I'm not sure. Yeah, we might have lost him for a second. We'll go back and check with him.
Yeah, I was kind of wondering that myself.
Yeah.
You know, it's all the only light out there with the light from vehicles, and it didn't look like the traffic was moving much anyway.
All right, let's see. Who are we going to next, guys?
Alan?
Alan Brosey has some new information we understand. Storm Tracker Alan Brosey, update us, Alan.
Okay, Kelly, can you hear me now?
You got you, buddy. Go ahead.
Okay, I'm 4th and Irving, Southwest 4th and Irving in Moore. This is the home that lost its roof of one of several that were damaged in this area. And, Kelly, I've been up and down 4th Street. The tornado went almost parallel to 4th Street, about 75 to 100 yards wide, damaging trees, large trees, roofs, structures, and what have you. There was a man, I had people approach me at 325 on Irving here. There was a man stuck into his storm cellar, and I called 911 and actually got a rescue crew out here to get him out. He was wheelchair bound and couldn't get out. Right now, we do have a big problem of people walking and looking around. If they can, please stay home. The damage is not extensive. There's a very narrow strip, but there's electricity out essentially 1 mile either side of the dam path. Yeah. And it's dangerous. It's getting dark now. The police are out. Please stay home. And right now, Kelly, I haven't heard of any severe injuries at this point, but this is right just north of the theater, the Warren Theater here, and it's just amazing that a lot of those buildings were spared. And anyway, we're going to take a look around, and we'll get back to you soon. Back to you, Kelly.
All right, Alan, good work out there. Of course, when we've had the major tornadoes in the Moore area, the governor has sent in the National Guard. I don't know that we have a wide enough damage scene for that to happen. Probably multiple police departments can handle it, and they'll probably chip in and they'll cordon off the area and make sure there aren't any people wandering around in there. We typically don't have problems with that, but you know, you get people. Moore's good at this.
Yeah,
they know
we've
how to
had
do
plenty
it.
of practice, all hands on deck, and I'm sure not just Moore, but I'm sure surrounding areas are coming in as well.
Pitch in.
Right. And it also looked like in that shot, you could see, I don't know if the people who lived in that home with the roof blown off, people walking around there in the yard.
Yeah.
There's the shot again.
I heard a call earlier on someone else stuck in a storm shelter. It was near the damage path, but it wasn't in the damage path, which makes me think that maybe they were just stuck in their storm shelter, and you do get some of that after events like this as well. But we do have quite a bit of damage, and Alan said, I couldn't hear how wide you said it was. I think maybe you said a couple hundred yards of damage path that he saw where he was.
Several, yeah.
Yeah, and so we packed a fairly good punch for not being a major tornado.
We've got Hank Brown here on the phone with us. Hank.
Yeah, Julian, I am on 119th between May and 10. This is the Village Green neighborhood. Patty's going to pan the camera around here. There's power lines down that run all along 119th right here. As you can see, there was debris up in the power lines as well as she's zooming in now on. This was an outbuilding that was in a backyard that was picked up and it's thrown out into the middle of 119th. So this is just west of 10 on Southwest 119th, and the Village Green neighborhood is taking some damage. There's some trees broken, some power lines down. I don't see any real serious damage to homes. There's some stuff, some roofs and that kind of stuff that are damaged, but nothing that is demolished to that extent. But This is probably some F0, F1 damage all along here, and it's really a mess. There's tower poles snapped, there's fences blown everywhere. Police and fire obviously here trying to clean things up, as well as OEC is here on site evaluating the situation to try to figure out how to start getting these power lines, one, off the street, and two, to get them repaired and get power restored.
Hey, Hank, if you can tell me, I'm trying to figure out how far west the damage goes. You're at Penn. Have you seen anything back as far west as May Avenue? I don't know if you came that way or not.
No, I am about 3/4 of the way between May and Penn, and so I'm about probably 4 blocks west of Penn, and the damage starts right here, and it goes all the way down to where Steve Shaw is at 119th and Western. So it's give or take about a mile to a mile and a quarter or so of where the damage is. Now, it's not a mile-wide damage path. There's just little spots of damage all along here, for a good mile, mile and a half.
And just trying to get an idea of where it started. So back around 119th and Penn, and then tracked all the way, did a little bit of damage across I-35. So went, it was probably, could have been on the ground easily 2.5–3 miles through there.
We appreciate that update. Thank you, Hank. And we'll continue to check back in with him. And I believe we have Ken Garcia with the Red Cross with us as well this evening. Ken?
Yes, good evening.
How are you, Ken? What are you guys doing right now, Ken?
Well, right now we are actively reaching out to our emergency managers, in the communities, down there in Cleveland County and in Moore, as well as in Oklahoma City, and any areas that may have been impacted. It's kind of hard to believe we're talking about Moore again, coming up on nearly 2 years since 2013. And, our thoughts go out to the families who may have been impacted again, or new families obviously being impacted by these storms. We're going to be assessing what those needs are as it's deemed safe, obviously, for us to do so. We obviously have a lot of power outages out there right now. So, obviously they may not be able to watch us, but if you've got cell phone service, they may be watching on mobile devices. If you have lost your power, keep that refrigerator closed. Make sure you're able to protect your food. Maybe unplug some electronics in case the power comes back on. It may avoid surges. And so, this is still very early. We're going to be here to assess those needs. And, also on the eastern side of the state in Tulsa, we are very, very active out there, reaching out again to emergency managers. We do know about a trailer park home that was destroyed in Sand Springs, and so we're working out there to potentially get a shelter up and running for those families and trying to move equipment around, obviously, again, once it's safe to do so.
Right, and you guys are statewide. We've heard about Moore and then Tulsa. Any of these other areas that maybe don't have as much damage? Do you have any reports there?
We haven't heard any. We're getting phone calls, sporadic phone calls from families calling us to say they have some damage to their homes. Major damage, but maybe some windows that are blown out, trying to get some materials to maybe board up their windows. So we're trying to make sure we can get them connected with resources. So we're hearing kind of sporadic little reports of some damage, but, right now our main focus is to make sure people have a safe place to go if that is needed, to make sure that it's going to be a cold night now that the cold front's pushed through. So really we're making sure those basic human needs are being met. We're trying to get as much information as we can. This is going to be a long night, especially out in the Tulsa area. So, the best thing people can do, especially as these storms continue to roll through, is making sure that they have their severe weather plans in place. And once these storms have passed, make sure everything is safe and, make sure there's not a lot of debris around your home if that is what's happened. So we're going to be busy. We've got a lot to do. And people can, and if they really want to help the Red Cross respond to these disasters, whether it's here in the Oklahoma City Metro or in Tulsa, you can go to redcross.org and make a donation. That's the best way to help. If you're looking saying you want to donate items or something along those lines, the best idea would be to contact your charity of choice to make sure they're even accepting those kind of items. That is a great piece of advice to do. That way you're not just bombarding local charities with a lot of items. It's better to give them a heads up and find out what is needed.
And quickly, Ken, if someone is in need of assistance, what do they need to do?
Right now, the best thing to do is you can contact your police department if it's an emergency. That's what we want you to make sure you contact first. The fire department, especially if it is an emergency, you can try contacting the local Red Cross to find out what services are going to be available. I will definitely be pushing out on our social media, which is at Red Cross OK, if you follow us on Twitter. And then, of course, for you and regular, and not regular, but traditional media, I'll definitely be sure to send information out there so we can make sure that the public knows where they can go if we need to open up shelters and where they can go to get services.
Okay, we appreciate that. Ken Garcia with the American Red Cross. We do need to check in with David for another weather update.
We do, and as we go to David, we're going to ask the control room, if you can, to cue up the video of the power flashes about 6:35 tonight when that tornado rolled through Moore. David, let's go to you for an update right now, buddy.
Well, yeah, you know, and this is what it looked like, again, like you said, about 6:30, and look at the debris. Folks, there's a roof. There is a roof. Look at that right there. Look at that. See that? Look at all that. Look at all that's going on the ground. Look at that vortex right there. See the vortex? There you go. Wow. Look at that. That is impressive. That's going to be an EF1, possibly an EF2. We'll have to wait and see after the survey teams go in and, you know, assess the damage. But on the backside, what's that over there? That's not the tornado over here, power flashes. The tornado is right here. And there's I-35. And I'd say it's just amazing. And you can see the spin going on, but you can see that one vortex, that condensate that quickly filled in. And remember, you don't have to have condensate from the ground all the way to the cloud. We didn't today. There was just condensate on the ground developing, and then the funnel of the tornado was still attached, obviously, up top. But here it goes again. And we had multiple tornadoes. Right now, I'd say maybe 4, 5, 6 tornadoes in Moore today alone. And because every time that one of these would form and die, it counts as one, and then another one reforms, and it counts as another one. But that shot there from Jim Gardner and Bob Mills Sky News 9 was amazing. Here it goes again. It's reforming again right now. And wow, look at that, folks. Look at that. And look how when it pops, how the flashes get pulled up into the updraft. They get pulled up into the tornado. And you can see the winds coming in on the back side of the tornado, and the winds on the front side now are out of the southeast. So you have winds blowing in here from the south, winds blowing in here from the north, and right here. This is where it's all going on, and this obviously attaches up. But it's clear. There's no cloud in here right now. This was kind of a cloud-free tornado, if you will. Today's storm reports, yes. Now, this is from the Storm Prediction Center. Here's what they've missed. Caddo County. Hank Brown, we had this live on the air. We had at least 3 or 4 tornadoes in here. Hank was in one of them. He drove into a tornado in Caddo County today. Moore, we've got at least 3 or 4, maybe a half dozen tornadoes down here. And then we had the one tornado up near Tulsa in Sapulpa with the one fatality up there today. That was a stronger tornado. The strongest tornado today was in Tulsa, was up in northeastern Oklahoma. So just a swath of damage. This really was where our moderate risk threat level was today that we had in effect from southwestern into central into northeastern Oklahoma. And it turned out okay. But I'll tell you what, the damage is definitely there. Pardon me, down in, excuse me, down in Moore, and Moore right now. So, again, it's been a rough day with all the severe storms that have been moving across the state. Let's go to Storm Shield 9, if we can here, and take a look at the squall line. It continues to push south and east of Oklahoma City. We'll zoom in on this for you. And as we do, again, I want to point out Tulsa now basically is out of the hairy stuff. The big stuff now south of Tulsa, down to south of Oklahoma City, and then from there down to Rush Springs. This one cell now in Rush Springs, west of Rush Springs, it is severe. But the Chickasha, you're finished with it. It's now off to your east. And these have weakened a lot. Nothing like what they were. Nothing like what they were an hour and a half ago, an hour ago, 2, 3, 4 hours ago, okay? Storm now. Pushing up into, again, Creek County, Fusky, Okmulgee counties. It's still fairly intense. The storm over Shawnee, now these are severe, don't get me wrong, over Shawnee, back to south of Norman. And, again, these storms are severe, capable of winds 60 to 70 miles per hour and some quarter, maybe even some golf ball size hail. But even the hail sizes have come down. We had baseball size hail today in the west sides of Oklahoma City. Val Castor had that live on the air and also back out in Canadian County. Let's zoom in now. Let's go to Norman. Take a zoom-in shot of here, closer shot, and Marty Logan's right here looking at it. There's Lake Thunderbird. Here's Purcell, severe storm over Noble, nickel and dime, quarter-size hail, winds 50 to 60 miles per hour in these as they continue to march off to the east now at about 30 to nearly 40 miles per hour. So they're moving at a pretty good clip. Could have some localized flash flooding, but right now, move of the area before that flooding really begins to crank up. So Purcell, though, you're getting kind of blitzed right now with lightning and thunder, loud in Purcell. Winds when the storm came through, 50, 60 miles per hour, nickel and dime, quarter-size hail. With that, Norman, it's about ready to come to an end. Noble, you're getting some rain right now, but not a big deal. But Norman, the OU campus, again, this is beginning to wind down. There we go. That storm earlier was well off to your east, and this storm now coming through, obviously, is to your south. Let's go a little bit farther southwest. Take another look at here what's going on. Here's Dibble and Kreiner, Dibble, Washington, Alex, over to Bradley. Thunderstorm here up towards Cole. Again, moving easterly. This storm, it's weakened some. It's actually weakened quite a bit coming into Dibble. We'll keep an eye on that as it keeps marching on to the east-northeast. Let's back out just a bit. And let's see, Sterling, there's that storm down there. We're watching that. Again, that's headed towards Rush Springs and Marlow. That storm severe, quarter-size hail with that, winds to 60, 70 miles per hour. Let's go back to the east now and talk about Shawnee. And, boy, Shawnee, they've had several storms go through there. And some localized flooding going on in Shawnee. Valcaster is still there. Bobby Payne's up on I-40. And this storm, it is severe, but it has weakened some. A little bit of a what we call an inflow notch down here. So still some turning going on with that, but nothing, a far cry from what it was just a little bit ago. And these storms, again, are a distant cousin from what they were earlier today. But the storm down here has actually weakened quite a bit here in the last 10 to 15 minutes. But Maud, Seminole, Bowlegs, you'll have yet a storm come on through. You folks in Seminole, get ready. Earlsboro, some wind and hail over you. Back to Tecumseh, Shawnee. It's beginning to slowly. It'll begin to wind down here shortly as the heaviest rain pulls off to your east. McLeod, a little small area of rain over you right now. Lake Thunderbird, some rain and storms over Lake Thunderbird. That's where Marty is. And let's come back to the north just a bit. Let's back out of this. And let's see, everything now clearing out of Oklahoma County. Up north, thunderstorm went up north of Guthrie. But that now weakening and coming into Payne County, but it's almost gone. So the severe weather threat will be along this line with the cold front now to the south and east of Oklahoma City for the rest of the evening. Okay, the Oklahoma City area, Oklahoma City, Oklahoma County, we're out of it. No more severe weather for us at all. The cold front's down here. And even these storms, again, nothing tornadic with these right now. No tornado warnings with these at all. They're just severe with the main threat, once again, being some wind and a little bit of hail. Hey, guys, let's put the DP hail on here quickly and just see if we have any large hail showing up. Pardon me. It's been a long day of talking. And let's see. Yeah, there's some hail down here going on. There's Purcell. There's Pauls Valley. These are the hail pockets. And this is a product that you only see on News 9. It's our dual pole hail product. And south of Purcell, this tells you really exactly where the hail is. And it really doesn't miss it. It does a great job. Hail core south of Purcell, back near Lindsay. Some hail in there, moving off to the east at about 30, 35 miles per hour. And a little more hail right now over Oaklahoma. But the hail, as far as the Shawnee and Pink area, at least for now, there's still hail falling, but no serious size hail. Let's go to the Barron button, see what that does for us. So take a look at the Barron button. And again, we might have, there it is. It's going to be some nickel and dime size hail, maybe some quarters that have been aloft that are still falling to the ground. There might be some quarter size hail with that back to south of Lindsay. And that's going to go on for a while. That storm, again, headed towards Asher. You folks in Gwinnett and Asher, if this stays like it is, you're going to have at least nickel and dime, maybe some quarter size hail with that. But to Shawnee right now, maybe some small hail, but mainly just rain. Mainly just rain in Shawnee, so good news there going on. Guys, let's back out one more time, kind of give the big overview. And I want to point out today we had at least 3 or 4 tornadoes back into Caddo County and southeastern Ouachita County out near Colony, where Hank Brown and Patty Brown were earlier. And then Val had the one tornado in western Oklahoma City. We had some power flashes, and that was the other next event of tornadoes. And that storm moved east-southeast, came into Moore, and gave us another at least 4, 5, 6 tornadoes. It was one area of circulation, but it was producing a tornado, then it would weaken, that would produce another area of circulation as it came through Moore, doing the damage down there. So this is a great sign here. These are beginning to really line out. I don't see anything on here that's scary right now besides a little wind, a little hail. And these storms are severe, though. Still can see winds 60, maybe 70 miles per hour. So that'll do some damage with some hail. So keep that in mind. Don't want to let your guard down with that. But I tell you what, the big show is behind this cold front, which is now to our south and east. And these storms are behind the cold front, which we were trying to get that to happen with the El Reno storm that became the Moore storm. But the El Reno storm basically outran the cold front. That's why it was able to produce those tornadoes. It was able to stay in that environment conducive to tornadoes. So that's what happened with that earlier. So things are quiet now in Oklahoma City. What a day it's been. No more severe weather for Oklahoma City and more. It's beginning to, you're through with it as well. No more severe weather for more. So guys, a lot going on today for sure.
You know, at 6:30 when that thing moved through more, what was a little bit confusing was we had Val over around Lake Overholser around 23rd Street, or he was actually at 10th and Council, I think, at one point. And then Jim had kind of snuck to the south on us and was on the Moore tornado.
Yeah, no, right. We had two areas of circulation. So at first, Jim was with Val, and I thought that he was looking at the tornado in the West Metro, and then we quickly realized Val has a tornado, and Jim Gardner has a tornado now coming through West Moore. So at the same time. At the same time. They were on the ground at the same time.
That's exactly right. And Adriana Ivashinsky is where Val was, basically in that area, Northwest 7th and Rockwell now. We understand with the victim there, or some more of the damage. Adriana?
Hi there, Kelly. Yeah, we are here near Northwest 7th and Rockwell. We're actually off of Hunter's Hill, and we're seeing a lot of tree damage, as you can see. I mean, look at this giant thing. It looks like it may have taken lightning strike, and then a high winds, possibly a small tornado, literally split it in two, and look at what it did, the damage to this house. In fact, the woman who lives in this house, she just closed on the house today. In fact, I mean, she's still shocked. She was inside the house when this happened. Gail, if you want to come over and tell us, I mean, she's still just utterly amazed. Bought the house, closed on it this morning, and then this is now in your yard. And you were inside the house when this happened. Gail Boyer, tell me what you heard.
Well, it sounded like a train. I've never seen a tornado in Oklahoma City before, but it sounded like a train, and it was pretty scary. And then I just couldn't believe this fell on my carport, and my insurance man was trying to get hold of me all day, and I think it's going to be okay.
Yeah, things are going to be okay, but it's a giant tree. I mean, this thing is heavy, and you're probably going to need some help chopping it down with some chainsaws. That's one of the things you came to me for, right?
Yes. Yeah. It's really pretty bad.
But you're okay.
Yeah, I'm fine.
And where were you when this happened?
Well, I was unloading my car, and I was taking my dogs in the house. And I still have the cat in the car. But I was in the house when it happened, and I just couldn't believe it. I just heard a big crash.
Well, thank goodness you're okay. We are so sorry you are dealing with this, but we know Oklahomans are helpful and generous, and will be coming out probably in droves to help you out.
I hope so.
So we are seeing a lot of damage like this. We see a lot of neighbors going up and down this street, checking on each other, making sure they're okay, checking on homes. We've seen carports that have literally been lifted and thrown into the trees. We've seen fences down. We have seen trees split in two. A lot of damage to be cleaning up over the next several days. Reporting live in Northwest Oklahoma City, Adriana Ivashinsky, News 9.
All right, Adriana, good work out there, Northwest 7th and Rockwell. That one-of-a-kind video that we have of the tornado and more with all the power flashes, some of you have alerted us, and one of the police chiefs alerted us that video actually shows the accident on I-35.
Yeah, a fireman. I just got a phone call, said he told me David was up on the weather wall, the video airing behind him. You can actually see one of the semis. There it is on the bottom of your screen. You see the two white semi.
Okay, the very bottom, just to the right of Jim's picture.
You can see it overturn.
Let's keep watching it going. It's still at the bottom left of your screen. There you go, pulling back a little bit.
I haven't seen this yet.
This is from 6:30 tonight. Boy, the monitor we're watching is so small. There it is, right by the...
He's not through the tornado yet. Okay.
Now he is. Well, he's right at the end of that.
It was really hard for us to see on our monitor, but we'll hope you can make it out.
You have a big screen at home. Maybe you can.
I don't think the injuries there were serious, which is, I haven't heard any really life-threatening injuries, which we're very fortunate.
I believe, here's some earlier video from Allen. You can see the traffic backed up there. But again, no reported injury that we are aware of at this point. And Justin, on the ground there moments after, I talked with the driver. You can see scratches on her face, on her nose.
She was a little scratched up, but she was looking. I think that was right there by the Warren Theater again on I-35, where we saw some major accidents last time.
And I believe we've got Jessica Hawley out live near Southwest 4th and telephone right now. Jessica, are you with us?
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me, Jolene?
Sure can.
Okay.
Where are you?
Yeah, we've been driving around. we've been driving around a lot, the southwest 4th area, Telephone Road, and, even heading toward those towers. The 3 towers that once stood, the 3 radio towers, only one remains. One of them is completely bent in half, the other 2 completely gone. We were actually standing out at that home that you've been seeing, Alan, showing of the home on Irving and near Southwest 4th, where the roof was just completely taken off of that. We tried talking to the homeowner. She obviously was really shaken up and rattled. That she was okay, that she was inside, took cover, and all of her neighbors, were just surrounding her, thanking the weathermen for, being so accurate and letting everyone know what was going on, and thanking God that she was alive. Around the other neighborhoods, we've seen a lot of carports pulled off their hinges, and on the ground we've seen trees. There's actually a big tree just down the way from where I'm at right now, completely split in half, which is just amazing and shocking to see, as well as street signs. Just a lot of debris, not too much severe damage. I would say the most severe damage that we've seen is that home that is missing the roof. So reporting live and more, Jessica Hawley, News 9.
All right, Jessica, where you are, what is the traffic like? We were watching video from earlier. It was just a bumper to bumper.
Yeah.
Can you maneuver at all down there?
It is pretty slow going right now. I think a lot of it is now at this point as onlookers who want to see what is going on, but police are doing a really good job of directing traffic at this point. But what I'm looking at is Southwest 4th Street. It is moving, I would say, probably about 20, 30 miles an hour, but it is pretty still congested in this area.
All right, Jess, we appreciate the update. Guys, are we going to take another look at that video? Do we have another version of it that we can see, maybe of the semi? Let's take a look at this one.
I don't think we could see it very well the last we showed, but we've got several different clips of it.
This video reportedly shows that, here we go, the semi is highlighted right there. And there it goes, right over on its side. That is a semi that rolled over on, I think it was a pickup truck there on the interstate.
I don't know if we can watch that again. There we go. It's highlighted there. You can see the white and just flips right over. That's the bottom side there of the semi. But our cameras did catch that. Jim Gardner and Bob Mills, Sky News 9.
And reporter Justin Doherty talked to one of the drivers down there who was involved in that. And Justin's with us again now, we understand. Justin, where are you now? Update us on what you're seeing.
Kelly, we are still on scene here at Northwest and Arnold. That it is completely black, but we are able to see with the light that the roof on 1, 2, 3 houses here on this block on Arnold Street are completely gone. Now these homeowners are just trying to salvage as much as they can. Here with this roof is gone. The inside is completely trashed. They told us that they left for Brahms to get ice cream just moments before the storm hit, and so they were not inside at the time. They say they are thankful they actually went to Brahms at the time that they did. And then the home that is here to the side, it also, the individual said, just so. He was in his kitchen just cooking dinner, and then all of a sudden he went into the middle room, the middle closet, was able to take shelter inside, and now his roof is completely gone as well. And the house beyond that, you see the top with the second floor. That individual there is him and his mom. He is just left speechless. He cannot believe that this happened, and it just happened so fast. And the roofs are completely gone in here. All residents are doing okay. The individual here in this home is still looking for one of his puppies. He has found 2, but he's still looking for one more. And now other homeowners are just looking inside. But we are still here at Northwest 5th and Arnold here and more. And we've got these homes and really across the street. There are actually no shingles gone on the houses. And so individuals are now lying in the street, even though it is completely black. The power is out. And these homes are without roofs tonight. And now these homeowners are just trying to collect as much as they can here live at Northwest 5th and Justin Dorff, News 9.
Appreciate that.
Yeah, Justin, your audio was fading in and out on us just a little bit, but we got the message. A bad day for the city of Moore once again. Really a rough day for our friends and neighbors up to the northeast part of the state.
Yeah, up in Tulsa, 1 death reported, at least 30 people transported to the hospital. This is video here from our sister station, KOTV in Tulsa.
We understand, and I heard that there might have been a mobile home park, and that's what that looks like up there, that the fatality may have been in the mobile home park up there. 1 fatality, 30 injuries. And I also heard a report that I'm not sure if this is Sand Springs or if this is closer to Keystone Lake Park. I don't know that area that well, but they're roughly in the same vicinity, so it was probably, I'm sure, the same storm. Boy, they got a lot of damage up there, though.
Yeah, you can sure see.
We know the folks at our sister station, KOTV, were taking cover.
Yeah, they went into the basement.
Yeah, and they're in downtown Tulsa.
Sure.
So it came right through the north edge of Tulsa. All right, that's video from the northeast part of the state, and my understanding as I was trying to listen to that was that tornado probably went through that area right around between 5 and 5:15 this afternoon, and that was about an hour before we had our serious action here in the metro. Oh, that video was from Sand Springs.
Okay.
So there you go.
Looked like a mobile home park, as you said there.
It sure did. Well, David, the situation in Tulsa looks like they had a stronger tornado go through up there.
Yeah, you know, they did, and some low-level dynamics that weren't quite as impressive in Oklahoma City today, or at least in central Oklahoma, were stronger up there. And again, that's from the Tulsa area. That's from Sapulpa and all through there. That's just a mess going on up there. So that's going to go down as EF2 damage, possibly, and yeah, maybe a little stronger. We'll see. But looks like a mobile home park. There you go. That was hit, and we say it over and over again, straight line winds from a thunderstorm can hurt you and or kill you in a mobile home, okay? They are easily rolled. A tornado can do a lot more for sure. They can easily be picked up and flipped, okay? So, again, this is what Tulsa looks like right now, at least this one little area in the western sides of Tulsa. But you can see the mountains in the background. This is Sapulpa. And so far, I do believe, last check, we've got that one fatality from Tulsa. But there's a lot of stories where buildings were hit, but people took the right action and got to a safe spot, got below ground, or got to the center part of the building or whatever, and buildings were hit and directly hit, but many people survived except for one. That's what it looks right now. Here's what it looked like down in Moore. We were live on the air. There goes a roof. Check it out. Look at the roof in the air. A couple hundred feet up. There you go. There's a roof. Look at that roof tumbling there. Here comes the roof. Look at the condensate. Look at the funnel. There's the tornado right there. On the ground, look how fast it is. Look at the motion there. This is a neighborhood, folks. This is going down somebody's street. And of all places, Moore, Oklahoma. All right? But, again, look at the debris in the air now. All the inflow going into the tornado from the north. And look at it picking everything up. There's quite a bit of damage scattered across Moore. And this was one area of circulation, but on the ground we had multiple tornadoes, at least 3 or 4 or 5. I don't know. It's hard to tell right now. We'll have to figure this out over the next couple of days. But the path began really in west Oklahoma City, out near Bethany and Lake Overholser. We had, I think, really our first very weak tornado in the western sides of Oklahoma City. And then it cycled, and it moved a little more east-southeast and came right down into Moore. And this is what we got out of it, and it just kept getting stronger and stronger. And this storm was on the cold front. It wasn't behind the cold front. That's why this storm, while others weakened and didn't produce any storms at all. This storm was able to stay on and just out ahead of the cold front as it came through Oklahoma City. But there it is going through Moore. And, again, tornado there. Look at the power flashes and all the power flashes. They get lifted up into the air because that's what the wind is doing. Everything's lifting and turning and being lifted up. So, yeah, you get those power flashes and all those sparks lifting into the sky. There's more power flashes back here, and that's just from inflow. That's damaging winds flowing into this. On the ground, we have what we call low-level jets that will feed into this, not only at the low levels, but even up top. But you'll get these jets coming in from all different angles, and those can do some wind damage as well, surrounding the tornado. But there's that roof again. There's somebody's roof. There it is, right there, suspended in the air. And look at all the debris. There you go. There's a spin going on there. Here comes the roof. The roof, look at that. Looks like a roof. What is that? Golly. It sure is. Boy, that's impressive. That's crazy. And, again, this was going on. Look at the traffic. There's I-35. I mean, it's one of those things where, we were issuing our own tornado emergency for Moore, saying you got to go to your safe spot. But I tell you what, if you're coming on I-35 and you're not paying attention, these folks don't have any idea what's going on. And they might not even see the power flashes in there. I think this is a semi. Guys, am I right on this? This is a semi that overturns right here. Is this the one a little bit after that? I think it's just right after that. Anyway, we'll back it up and we'll find it. And then, obviously, afterwards, all the damage going on down there. So, wow. And cars overturned. And there it is again. You see the spin going on. And look at the homes around it. Look at the businesses around it down in Moore, right smack dab in the middle. Big piece of debris, a loft, and there's a semi. And right now the tornado is right here, so it's on the It's on the eastern edge of the tornado. That's where that semi gets pulled into it, and it's just from that wind rushing into it. And, you know, a big semi acts like a sail, and you put wind up against it. If that semi didn't have any weight in it, they fall over relatively easy, but still impressive nonetheless, okay? I'm not downplaying it at all. So what's going on now with the severe weather? It's down in southern and eastern Oklahoma. Thunderstorms, again, they're still severe. They've weakened, though. Here's the good news. They've weakened some here in the last 10 to 15 minutes, running from well south of Oklahoma City all the way to Tulsa. Notice what's coming in behind it. A lot of wind will blow in here this evening and tonight. The winds are going to howl as the cooler, drier air comes on in behind this powerful storm system. Guys, let's put this into motion and zoom on in and just take a closer look. Let's stay with COX on this. Let's jump into southwestern Oklahoma, though, and give a closer look down here. Just keep zooming on in here for me. There's Duncan, and there you go. Thunderstorm now. This is, again, severe. Going to have quarter-size hail with that coming through Duncan. The hail core just north of Duncan and also just south of Duncan. That's headed towards Pauls Valley. You folks at Ardmore, right now, this might stay just barely to your north. But Pauls Valley, get ready. Severe storm, at least potentially severe storm, will be in your, again, in your city here in about the next 10 to 15 minutes. It's coming in from the west. Shawnee, you're now in the clear. Thunderstorms headed towards Ada. Now coming into Henrietta. McAllister, you're going to get the storms as well. They're going to push into, well, eastern Oklahoma and southern Oklahoma as we get into the next several hours, and they're going to push their way out. This is along the cold front that continues to march to the south and east. Thunderstorm went up earlier near Guthrie, but it died out. The atmosphere up here just too stable now. The atmosphere has been worked over, and all that energy has been drained, basically, from what's going on with this, and plus the atmosphere now very stable behind this line. Out ahead of it, though, still unstable. Very unstable still in this part of the state. That's why these storms will stay severe the next several hours, but the gradual trend will be for these to gradually weaken, but still can't let our guard down. Ada, over to McAllister, down to Atoka, back to Pauls Valley, back to Ardmore. Need to watch these storms because it wouldn't take much for one or two of these to ramp up. Let's zoom in a little closer with our live radar here. Let's kind of switch gears and check the Norman area and the Shawnee area, give you folks there kind of an update. And still some impressive storms, but nothing like what we had earlier. These are just producing some wind, maybe 50, 60 miles per hour right now at the most. Nickel and dime size hail. That's the way it looks right now with any one of these storms. Nickel and dime size hail running from Marlow, now coming into Bray. Might have a little larger hailstone down in the south of Bray, east of Duncan, maybe some quarters down there. Still have a weak mesocyclone going on there, so that'll make those hail sizes larger. And then north of Pauls Valley over to Asher, Seminole, Wewoka, Holdenville. Line of storms in here. Notice Oklahoma City, nothing going on. It's quiet out there. So quiet for now, nothing going on, and we will stay quiet for tonight, for tomorrow, really some quiet weather coming up. And what a day ahead has been with those storms developing again out west. Had a couple of tornadoes out here earlier, and then obviously we had a couple more develop in the west side of Oklahoma City, and then obviously down through Moore where the storms were, where they were much stronger outside of that. One more time before we go back to the news desk, let's take a look at that video. Let's take a look at it one more time down in Moore today. And I tell you what, pretty amazing stuff. This storm, again, stayed ahead of the cold front just barely. It was riding the front, but the mesocyclone, or the area of spin, was out ahead of it. And this thing really started to turn. We had this live on the air. Jim Gardner, Bob Mills, Sky News 9, Val Castor, Hank and Prouty Brown, Marty Logan, Bobby Payne, James Menzies, everybody out and about today. But boy, look at there. Here we go. There's the condensate. See the condensate filling in? There it is. It strengthens. Look at that. Look how fast that is. That's pretty violent. That's pretty fast motion there going on. But notice how quickly it went away. And then it kind of reforms, and then everything kind of goes away for just a few seconds, and then it comes ramping back up again, and we get another tornado in there. So this was a multiple, not really so much a multiple vortex as far as one broad circulation. There was one area of circulation, but there were multiple vortices, so it still is a multiple vortex tornado that was moving through Moore with different tornadoes on the ground at different times. So anyway, pretty amazing stuff. Look at the power flashes down there, and it's coming up to I-35. It crosses I-35, and here's the semi right here. That's the one that gets toppled over, I think. I'm pretty sure. And there's the tornado just ahead of him right there. So, wow, what it was down in Moore, and there's the debris in the air, and just amazing. So, a wild day to our south. Moore, unfortunately, you know, another tornado today. It's hard to believe it even happened. But things are quiet down there now, but a lot of cleanup going on. Our team of trackers, they're back here in the metro. Some of them still tracking those storms, but our news team obviously down in the Moore area tracking that, all the damage that's going on down there. So that's all I can do from here. Jolene, back to you.
All right, appreciate that, David. Of course, no injuries that we know of reported here in the metro area, but Tulsa really got hit hard. We have Jim Wenham with EMSA on the phone with us, and right now search and rescue is going on in Tulsa in a mobile home park. Jim, tell us about that.
Yes, the information I have is that there's up to 50 mobile homes that sustained damage in the area. That's the preliminary information that I have, and search operations are underway right now. EMSA is on scene with the local fire department and other responders in that area assisting. There have been 4 patients that were transported from that particular mobile home area that I'm aware of at this time. I know one was transported emergency, and the others were transported non-emergency to the hospital. So 3 of them with minor injuries and 1 of them serious is the information that I have. As you well know, I'm sure it's a large debris field. I have not seen it. I have heard reports that they're looking and continuing to search through to see if there's any more casualties or people that may be injured. So it's kind of a dynamic, ongoing process that's up there. Also, throughout the Tulsa metropolitan area, the preliminary information that we've had, including that, was there's been we've transported roughly 20 to 25 patients from storm-related injuries is the information that I have right now. We're still gathering that. That is preliminary. Our primary goal is to make sure the patients are taken care of and get to the hospital. And once that's taken care of, then we will go back, look at it, see what we could do better, get the right numbers, make sure we don't overload one hospital, constantly communicate with them, and get the patient taken care of first, and then get our numbers taken care of later. So it is still ongoing up in Tulsa as far as search and rescue, and hopefully there'll be no more patients.
And you said 25 patients, people transported to the hospital with storm-related injuries. And earlier you were reporting 1 death. Is that number still at 1?
That is the information that I've heard, and through the MMRS, and I've also heard information through media reports. There are several agencies that are out there working, and I can't confirm that, but I have heard that, but I have no confirmation on that at this point in time, ma'am.
Now, as far as more, what's the latest there?
They are, we still have crews in the general vicinity in South Oklahoma City. It's kind of a precaution. As you know, as people come out of their shelter and there's damage and there is, debris around, there's still the potential for people to become injured, down power lines, things like that. You have other responders that are in the area that may be doing some searching, maybe some people that may have trouble getting out of their storm shelter, and I'm speculating that area. So they're going to make sure that everything is safe down there, and we're going to remain in the areas as usual, just in case somebody gets hurt. My updated numbers from the Oklahoma City area is storm-related injuries, and they were all minor. We transported 4 people from the south area to various hospitals throughout the Metroplex, and they were all minor injuries, but they were weather-related, minor lacerations and superficial bumps and scrapes. So very fortunate that we had minor injuries. So good warning, good opportunity. These people heeded the warning, took shelter. And an interesting point just to bring up, we still run day-to-day emergencies, and I hate to call them normal because they're not a normal, but that are not weather-related type incidents. And we had a crew that was in the area where these storms were hitting as the sirens went off and the hail and the wind came through, and they had to take their patient and took them and the family into a storm shelter next door and rode out the storm underground inside the storm shelter while providing care and treatment to the patient inside the storm shelter, and trying to keep everybody calm and weathered it out. And it was just interesting, the thing that happened. And these stories are coming back to us now as they come back to the operations center, and it's just a great job. The men and women and all the fire departments, law enforcement, and IMSA paramedics, EMTs, and paramedics have done today. So great job for them. We took the warning, unfortunately, like last year, we were aware of the potential for this, and we're geared up for it and had a unit in the area just as quickly as possible.
All right, Jim Wenham with EMSA, we appreciate you giving us that update. Thank you so much.
That's the video from earlier, about 6:30 tonight, with the tornado moving through right down Southwest 4th Street and more. The power flashes from this one were unbelievable.
Yes, but we've also got Glenn Lewis, the mayor of Moore, on the phone with us right now. Can you hear us, Mr. Lewis? Are you there?
I can. Can you hear me?
We sure can. Tell us what you're thinking right now, going through.
Well, it's kind of like deja vu.
Sure.
We, we've been through this many times, and right now I'm standing in the Emergency Management Command Center off of Main and Broadway. The tornado, one of the tornadoes passed right over us, and it's nice to know the safe room here held up. So everything is okay here. The city has been hit in the Southgate area mostly, and we're right now trying to make sure that everybody's accounted for. So far, it seems to be we don't really have any injuries except the person with a head injury that was in the truck on the interstate that was blown over.
Glenn, you've been mayor down there since 1994, so you've been through the big tornadoes and more, and this one certainly doesn't measure up, fortunately, to those. Nonetheless, you're having to deal with damage. I'm sure you have systems in place at this point that are very efficient.
We do. As a matter of fact, that was one of the things I commented on to the city manager here is like, this thing, unfortunately, we have so much experience with this that everybody knows exactly what to do without having to be directed anywhere. So I think as far as that goes, we've got it under control, but it's still a bad situation. We're still looking to make sure everybody's accounted for. That's our main thing. I would just like to say thank you to you guys for reporting on this. I mean, you guys save countless lives when you report on these weather events, and I just want to say thank you very much.
Well,
we certainly appreciate
you're welcome,
that.
and we'll pass that along to our weather team. Did a great job out there tracking it, and Jim Gardner in the chopper.
And thank you to
Well, one of the other things I would like to say is we would like to ask people not to come down and look at it right now because they're still getting emergency vehicles down, and there still are some live wires down on some of the streets. So we're asking people not to come in to town right now. So I appreciate it.
Yeah, certainly some good advice to pass along to people. A lot of people, I'm sure, on their way there or getting out and about, wanting to look to see what all is going on. But it's best just to stay where you are. Glenn Lewis, the mayor of Moore, with us tonight. Thank you so much.
Now, some video coming into us from Tulsa, and apparently a gym that was hit up there, a gymnasium, and I think it was in the Sand Springs area. And these are firefighters from that area taking kids, very frightened children out of that gym, and some of them injured.
Mayor Lewis was saying, thank you to our weather team, but we'd also like to extend a big thank you to all of the first responders and emergency crews who are out in this right now.
They do terrific work, and the storm's still going, and they're rushing to the scene, and they're getting right in the middle of it. This is Sand Springs. This was about 5 o'clock this evening. About an hour and a half before we had our tornado in Moore and the one on the northwest side of Oklahoma City.
And Tulsa reporting 25 patients with storm-related injuries. That's scrapes, bumps, bruises, one death. 4 transports from that mobile home there in Sand Springs.
Look at that, very worried parents there picking up children. The children clearly shaken up. You can understand why. Seen pictures of the Tulsa tornado, still pictures, and it was a pretty strong-looking tornado. We can also hear the Christy Yeager, spokesman for the city, sent out an email a little while ago saying the damage in the city, in Oklahoma City proper, is minor. Debris in the streets, some power lines down. She also said that folks in the terminal out of Will Rogers World Airport were evacuated for about 15 or 20 minutes while the storms were going through, and that was probably a good call because, as we know now, that tornado that went through Moore probably went right over, at least up in the air, over the airport, because it would have been about on that path. We know it didn't have any damage over there, so it was clearly not on the ground, but there was a wall cloud that probably passed right over the airport.
Looking at these damages here, again, that's that mobile home park. We got a lot of rain with it and wading through the water there. Right now they're in search and rescue mode. Right now as we speak in that mobile home park, they're going through all that rubble, trying to find anyone who may have survived this, but 1 death reported and 4 transports from that mobile home park. One was an emergency transport, serious, the others minor.
One of the things that the city of Moore did or has done in the past, which is just amazing and very forward thinking is when they have these events, and we saw the shot of the street sign that was twisted and leaning over. They come in with temporary street signs almost immediately, within the next day, so that people can identify the neighborhoods where they are and know what's where the damage is and where they physically are and more. Night is falling down there, so it's the situation a little trickier. Have not heard any more reports of natural gas leaks down there. Hopefully not the case. But if you're just joining us or you're a little unclear of what happened earlier this evening, we had storms that built out in western Oklahoma. We had a small, very small tornado reported by Hank Brown out in Colony, out to southwest of I-35 and south of the Clinton area. And the storms have continued to build as they came closer to the metro area. Kind of split. We had one storm that went up around Lake Overholser, north of I-40, and then another storm that went south of I-40, and that was the one that went through Moore. And about 6:35 tonight is when it tore through the neighborhoods just on the north side of the Warren Theater complex. That same area damaged multiple homes, flipped cars on I-35 and on some of the streets there, tore through the power lines, did some damage to one of the elementary schools we understand down there. Kids weren't there.
Yeah,
But did damage one of the buildings down there a little bit. So they're still assessing all that. They had natural gas leaks, and that's what happened tonight. There was a tornado threat. It was low, but as it began to ramp up a little bit as the day went on.
Yeah, we're getting a lot of updates, of course, from the Moore and closer here to the metro. But, you know, this started out in western Oklahoma near Fort Cobb, and I did get a hold of someone who lives in that area, and they're safe. They, you know, had large hail, but said there was about a 5-mile stretch there of some damage. And so we're still waiting on reports of what kind of damage.
Yeah, we haven't talked a lot about
really
the hail. That is a very good point. We haven't talked a lot about the hail. We had golf ball size at least, and maybe larger than that. I think we're going to go back over to David Payne for a little bit of an update of what's going on right now. David?
You know, I was just going to mention that, you know, I know we're talking about, you know, the heartbreaking story going on down in Moore, and it just really tears at you that they had another tornado today. They actually had several tornadoes, but outside of that, a lot more people had hail and damaging hail, like in the West Metro, out in Canadian County, near Mustang, near along the north and west of I-40. And we're talking about baseball-sized hail, doing a lot of damage to cars and roofs and windows. And that came through parts of Oklahoma City with that same storm that began to become tornadic, okay? So here are these severe storm reports today. The hail reports are in green. Notice those run from Tulsa back to Stillwater, down through Oklahoma City, and then we have the tornado reports. That was from Hank Brown. He had several tornadoes today out in Caddo County, out near Fort Cobb. And then, again, obviously, we had the Moore tornadoes. We even had what we think now is going to be a brief tornado touchdown, maybe one or two, with multiple power flashes with Val Castor in the southwestern sides of Oklahoma City. And then we had the other tornado up in Tulsa. That was the fatality tornado up there. So far, right now, one fatality in our state today because of the tornado up in Tulsa. But we had our fair share of tornadoes down here for sure. All right, let's talk about the path now. And again, this will change. This is preliminary, looking at some of the latest data, what the velocity data was doing. And Lacey Swope put this together. And again, Hank was here at the time. Alan was here basically right there at the time. And then Val was coming in from the north as well. And the tornado path, here's Pennsylvania. Here's Southwest 89th. Here's Moore. And there's the Warren Theater. Okay, there's the Warren Theater. And there's Briarwood Elementary right there. Plaza Towers, remember, it's right here, right in behind Warren Theater, and there's Briarwood. So look how close it came to Briarwood and Plaza Towers. Didn't miss it by much, okay? About a half mile north of Plaza Towers. Amazing. But it did cross the same path as the May 20th tornado. The May 20th tornado came right through Briarwood, over to Plaza Towers. Remember, it skipped Warren Theater, took out the hospital, and then moved due east and died over here, okay? So again, May 20th, 2013, EF5 was right here. So this went across, this crossed that path from May 20th, 2013. That is amazing. But this is the preliminary path. And again, this was one area of circulation, but we had multiple tornadoes off and on the ground several times through this. We had the cars and the semis, again, flipped on I-35 as the tornado crossed I-35 and continued to push off to the southeast, and then from there it began to weaken, and it just went away after that. So that was amazing. All right, here's what it looks like right now. the line of severe storms, again, in southern and eastern Oklahoma, the wind beginning to howl in behind this. It's getting windy out there. And from Oklahoma City south, though, not much going on, except this line will continue to push away from us. Oklahoma City, it's quiet. Again, we're through with this severe weather. You're through with this severe weather. But from Marlow and Duncan up to just north and west now, coming into Pauls Valley, north and west of Ada, to north of McAllister, to Muskogee. Again, these storms potentially severe from time to time. Winds 50, 60 miles per hour, nickel and dime, even maybe some quarter-size hail with this line down to our southeast as it keeps moving, again, away from Oklahoma City, as it keeps moving away from southwestern Oklahoma. I want to point out some showers back in our panhandle. Those will hang around for a while tonight and give us a few more showers here and there, but nothing too out of control with that. So you can take a closer shot here. And again, these storms still severe. All right, they're still severe, running from Holdenville back down to Pauls Valley. So nickel and dime, quarter-size hail, winds 50, maybe 60 miles per hour with these. The tornado threat from these, nothing like that showing up. The tornado threat's gone, okay? It's gone, basically, out of these. But they still could produce some wind damage and wind, obviously, 60 miles an hour, and also some nickel and dime, quarter-size hail out of that. And notice, Oklahoma City, not much going on now. It's quiet here. Canadian County, you're quiet. West Oklahoma City, Moore, nothing going on in Moore. Norman, nothing going on down there. So great news there going on as far as it being quiet. And velocity data, we have it turned on, but everything's winding down out there. Good news for us. Storms to our south and east, moving away from us. We're doing okay. Things are quiet now.
Been asking people to post their experience on my Facebook page,
right.
And one of them wrote, this is from Shannon Tuttle, says, I live close to Northwest 12th and I-35. The sound of the tornado was like a roaring train. The pressure on my ears was unreal. News 9 weather team and reporters rock. If not for you guys, I would have just stayed upstairs watching TV, unaware of what was fixing to happen, thanks to all of you. So that's nice to hear from Shannon Tuttle. So if you have a comment or any experience today with this severe weather, please go to my Facebook page and post it, and we'll share some of those.
All right, appreciate that. We also have a few new numbers to report. OU Medical Center reporting 8 patients total transported to their hospital. 4 of those were trauma patients, and then the other 4 were with less serious injuries, but we know 8 people that we are aware of transported to OU Medical Center.
All in all, when it was on the ground, it looked like it could have been worse than that. So
Sure.
I'd say we're very fortunate. Adriana Ivashinsky is on the northern track of the storm, where it kind of went through the Bethany area, a different storm, but about the same time, about 6:30 tonight. Bethany, Adriana, Northwest 7th and Rockwell, update us.
That's right, Kelly. Lots of damage in the neighborhoods around here, and fences are down, trees are down. This giant tree has been split in 3 parts. I mean, this is a massive tree. It looks, actually, if you look over there, the black part, it may have been struck by lightning. Neighbors have been actually telling me they heard a loud clap of thunder. They saw the lightning and a glow. I bet you $100 it was that tree. And then once that thing hit and the high winds, look at the damage it did. This massive tree fell on the roof of this house, onto the carport, and the woman who lives inside this house just closed on this house today. This is what she is going to have to contend with now. Cleaning up this massive tree out of her brand new yard and her new house, and she's just beside herself at this point and saying she needs a lot of help. We've seen a lot of this damage all around this area. We have seen fences down. We have seen trees like this down, split. We've seen lots of carports that are usually very secure. They have been ripped from their foundations and are in the trees around this neighborhood. Lots of the neighbors around here have been walking the streets when it was lighter, checking on each other, making sure they were okay. Neighbors have checked in on this homeowner as well. She is okay. She was inside at the time with her 2 dogs and a cat, but she was fine. But she said it also sounded like a freight train. You keep hearing that again and again when we have these severe weather moments pass through. So either really severe straight line winds came through here or the start of that tornado. Kelly, reporting live in Northwest Oklahoma City, Adriana Ivashinsky, News 9.
All right, Adriana, gosh, closed on the house today.
Oh, poor lady, so sad.
And we've all been busy. You've been doing your thing. I've been trying. Southgate Elementary down in Moore.
Yeah.
I guess damage, roof's gone. Or
yeah,
partially
I don't know the extent
or,
of it, but that's what we had to report, that there was damage to Southgate.
Okay. And it missed, Plaza Towers by half a mile, and missed Briarwood by about a mile or so.
You know what's interesting? People are sending me pictures on my Facebook page. Go there and check it out if you have time. One guy who you can see the Warren Theater out his back door. His fence is torn down. There's damage to the back part of his house. That's got to be a new house. I mean, those houses all directly east of the Warren are basically new from the last tornado.
Right. The only we knew today we weren't going to have really the dynamics weren't there to get big violent tornadoes like EF3s or 4s or 5s. It wasn't going to be like that. It really wasn't. It was going to be, if we had tornadoes at all, it'd be a low end event, and that really is. I mean, the winds down there maybe 100, maybe 120 miles per hour. It doesn't take much to pick up a car and to tip over a semi. Straight line winds can do that, but some of the roofs being taken up, lifted up in the air, that's for sure EF1 damage. Maybe low end EF2, but I think low end or upper end EF1 at this point. We'll see.
We've had some pretty amazing video. We have some video from one of our viewers who apparently was in their car when the hail came in. Let's watch.
Watch this.
And that's what happens to your windows when the hail comes in. Maybe, maybe we can add some. Oh, look at that.
Yeah, and by the way, you can be seriously hurt. You can lose your life by being in a car with winds to 80, 90 miles an hour with baseball-sized hail. I've done it, and I've lived through it, and it's horrible.
Yeah.
It's a nightmare. And the hail just comes in and goes all over the place, and it cuts you up. It can be really, really bad. I mean, there was a lot of hail damage today. West Oklahoma City, Canadian County, down through Moore, there's been some big hail, baseball-sized hail.
A lot of people think, I can park my car, then I can run through the hail back to the house or whatever.
No. One hailstone in the head, it's lights out. But our hearts, really go out to folks in Tulsa. I mean, Tallahassee up there today.
Yeah.
And
Sand Springs area.
Sand Springs. Big mess up there for sure.
Dare we even ask? I mean, what are we looking at down the road? We got any more stormy days coming up?
No, it's quiet. It's going to be really windy tonight, and really the next several days looks quiet. Next week we'll have another storm system here, maybe late Sunday or Monday, but.
Well, this is our first real severe storm event, and we got off to a rocky start.
Remember how cold it's been and chilly, and then it warmed up and all that, and we were thinking, oh, maybe nothing's going to happen this year. And last year we had 16 tornadoes total. I think today, if we count what Hank Brown saw, what Val and Jim saw, we're probably already at maybe 10.
No, we're counting that one in western Oklahoma. That was a tornado.
Yeah, Hank, Hank had several. He had 4 or 5 out there for sure. So you had those, so that we've got maybe 10, maybe a dozen today already.
And it was tough on emergency managers today because, I mean, these things were sort of rain-wrapped at one point. You couldn't tell exactly what it was, so they were hesitant. They didn't sound the sirens until, I mean, police were calling them saying, sound the sirens.
Right, and I want to say this, there weren't tornado warnings in effect. This was us issuing our own tornado warnings for these storms, and sometimes that's what you have to do.
Yeah, we'll be back with complete coverage on today's events at 10 o'clock. We'll see you then.
Dave's all new with James Franco and community.
Four transports from that mobile home there in Sand Springs.
Look at that, very worried parents there picking up children. The children clearly shaken up. You can understand why. Seen pictures of the Tulsa tornado, still pictures, and it was a pretty strong-looking tornado. We can also say the Christy Yeager, spokesman for the city, sent out an email a little while ago saying the damage in the city, in Oklahoma City proper, is minor. Debris in the streets, some power lines down. She also said that folks in the terminal out of Will Rogers World Airport were evacuated for about 15 or 20 minutes while the storms were going through, and that was probably a good call because, as we know now, that tornado that went through Moore probably went right over, at least up in the air, over the airport, because it would have been about on that path. We know it didn't have any damage over there, so it was clearly not on the ground, but there was a wall cloud that probably passed right over the airport.
Looking at these damages here, again, that's that mobile home park Got a lot of rain with it, wading through the water there. Right now they're in search and rescue mode. Right now as we speak in that mobile home park, they're going, through all that rubble, trying to find anyone who may have survived this, but one death reported and 4 transports from that mobile home park. One was an emergency transport, serious, the others minor.
One of the things that the city of Moore did or has done in the past, which is just amazing and very forward thinking, is when they have these events, and we saw the shot of the street sign that was twisted and leaning over, they come in with temporary street signs almost immediately, then within the next day, so that people can identify the neighborhoods where they are and know what's where the damage is and where they physically are and more. Night is falling down there, so it's the situation a little trickier. Have not heard any more reports of natural gas leaks down there. Hopefully not the case. But if you're just joining us or you're a little unclear of what happened earlier this evening, we had storms that built out in western Oklahoma. We had a very small tornado reported by Hank Brown out in Colony, out to southwest of I-35 and south of the Clinton area. And the storms have continued to build as they came closer to the metro area. Kind of split. We had one storm that went up around Lake Overholser, north of I-40, and then another storm that went south of I-40, and that was the one that went through Moore. And about 6:35 tonight is when it tore through the neighborhoods just on the north side of the Warren Theater complex, that same area, damaged multiple homes, flipped cars on I-35 and on some of the streets there, tore through the power lines, did some damage to one of the elementary schools, we understand, down there. Kids weren't there.
Yeah,
but they damaged one of the buildings down there a little bit. So they're still assessing all that. They had natural gas leaks, and that's what happened tonight. There was a tornado threat. It was low, but as it began to ramp up a little bit as the day went on.
Yeah, we're getting a lot of updates, of course, from the Moore and closer here to the metro. But, this started out in western Oklahoma near Fort Cobb, and I did get a hold of someone who lives in that area, and they're safe. They, had large hail, but said there was about a 5-mile stretch there of some damage. And so we're still waiting on reports of what kind of damage.
Yeah, we haven't talked a lot about the hail. That is a very good point. We haven't talked a lot about the hail. We had golf ball size at least, and maybe larger than that. I think we're going to go back over to David Payne for a little bit of an update of what's going on right now. David?
I was just going to mention that, I know we're talking about, the heartbreaking story going on down in Moore, and it just really tears at you that they had another tornado today. They actually had several tornadoes, but outside of that, a lot more people had hail and damaging hail, like in the West Metro, out in Canadian County, near Mustang, near along in north and west by 40. And we're talking about baseball-sized hail, doing a lot of damage to cars and roofs and windows. And that came through parts of Oklahoma City with that same storm that began to become tornadic, okay? So here are these severe storm reports today. The hail reports are in green. Notice those run from Tulsa back to Stillwater, down through Oklahoma City, and then we have the tornado reports. That was from Hank Brown. He had several tornadoes today out in Caddo County, out near Fort Cobb. And then, again, obviously, we had the Moore tornadoes. We even had what we think now is going to be a brief tornado touchdown, maybe one or two, with multiple power flashes with Val Castor in the southwestern sides of Oklahoma City. And then we had the other tornado up in Tulsa. That was the fatality tornado up there. So far, right now, one fatality in our state today because of the tornado up in Tulsa. But we had our fair share of tornadoes down here for sure. All right, let's talk about the path now. And again, this will change. This is preliminary, looking at some of the latest data, what the velocity data was doing. And Lacey Swope put this together. And again, Hank was here at the time. Alan was here basically right there at the time. And then Val was coming in from the north as well. And the tornado path, here's Pennsylvania. Here's Southwest 89th. Here's Moore. And there's the Warren Theater. Okay, there's the Warren Theater. And there's Briarwood Elementary right there. Plaza Towers, remember, it's right here, right in behind Warren Theater. And there's Briarwood. So look how close it came to Briarwood and Plaza Towers. Didn't miss it by much, okay? About a half mile north of Plaza Towers. Amazing. But it did cross the same path as the May 20th tornado. The May 20th tornado came right through Briarwood over to Plaza Towers. Remember, it skipped Warren Theater, took out the hospital, and then moved due east and died over here, okay? So again, May 20th, 2013 EF5 was right here. So this went across, this crossed that path from May 20th, 2013. That is Amazing. But this is the preliminary path. And again, this was one area of circulation, but we had multiple tornadoes off and on the ground several times through this. We had the cars and the semis, again, flipped on I-35 as the tornado crossed I-35 and continued to push off to the southeast. And then from there, it began to weaken, and it just went away after that. So that was amazing. All right, here's what it looks like right now. The line of severe storms, again, in southern and eastern Oklahoma, the wind beginning to howl in behind this. It's getting windy out there. And from Oklahoma City south, though, not much going on, except this line will continue to push away from us. Oklahoma City, it's quiet. Again, we're through with this severe weather. More, you're through with this severe weather. But from Marlow and Duncan up to just north and west now, coming into Pauls Valley, north and west of Ada, to north of McAllister, to Muskogee. Again, these storms potentially severe from time to time. Winds 50, 60 miles per hour, nickel and dime, even maybe some quarter-size hail with this line down to our southeast as it keeps moving, again, away from Oklahoma City, as it keeps moving away from southwestern Oklahoma. I want to point out some showers back in our panhandle. Those will hang around for a while tonight and give us a few more showers here and there, but nothing too out of control with that. So you can take a closer shot here. And again, these storms still severe. All right, they're still severe, running from Holdenville back down to Pauls Valley. So nickel and dime, quarter-size hail, winds 50, maybe 60 miles per hour with these. The tornado threat from these, nothing like that showing up. The tornado threat's gone, okay? It's gone, basically, out of these. But they still could produce some wind damage and wind, obviously, 60 miles an hour, and also some nickel dime, quarter-size hail out of that. And notice, Oklahoma City, not much going on now. It's quiet here. Canadian County, you're quiet. West Oklahoma City, Moore, nothing going on in Moore. Norman, nothing going on down there. So great news there going on as far as it being quiet. And velocity data, we have it turned on, but everything's winding down out there. Good news for us. Storms to our south and east, moving away from us. We're doing okay. Things are quiet now.
Been asking people to post their experience on my Facebook page,
right.
And one of them wrote, this is from Shannon Tuttle, says, I live close to Northwest 12th and I-35. The sound of the tornado was like a roaring train. The pressure on my ears was unreal. News 9 weather team and reporters rock. If not for you guys, I would have just stayed upstairs watching TV, unaware of what was fixing to happen, thanks to all of you. So that's nice to hear from Shannon Tuttle. So if you have a comment or any experience today with this severe weather, please go to my Facebook page and post it, and we'll share some of those.
All right, appreciate that. We also have a few new numbers to report. OU Medical Center reporting 8 patients total transported to their hospital. 4 of those were trauma patients, and then the other 4 were with less serious injuries, but we know 8 people that we are aware of transported to OU Medical Center.
All in all, when it was on the ground, it looked like it could have been worse than that. So
Sure.
I'd say we're very fortunate. Adriana Wyszynski is on the northern track of the storm, where it kind of went through the Bethany area, a different storm, but about the same time, about 6:30 tonight. Bethany, Adriana, Northwest 7th and Rockwell, update us.
That's right, Kelly. Lots of damage in the neighborhoods around here, and fences are down, trees are down. This giant tree has been split in 3 parts. I mean, this is a massive tree. It looks actually, if you look over there, the black part, it may have been struck by lightning. Neighbors have been actually telling me they heard a loud clap of thunder. They saw the lightning and a glow. I bet you $100 it was that tree. And then once that thing hit and the high winds, look at the damage it did. This massive tree fell on the roof of this house, onto the carport, and the woman who lives inside this house just closed on this house today. This is what she is going to have to contend with now, cleaning up this massive tree out of her brand new yard and her new house, and she's just beside herself at this point and saying she needs a lot of help. We've seen a lot of this damage all around this area. We have seen fences down. We have seen trees like this down, split. We've seen lots of carports that are usually very secure. They have been ripped from their foundations and are in the trees around this neighborhood. Lots of the neighbors around here have been walking the streets when it was lighter, checking on each other, making sure they were okay. Neighbors have checked in on this homeowner as well. She is okay. She was inside at the time with her 2 dogs and a cat, but she was fine. But she said it also sounded like a freight train. You keep hearing that again and again when we have these severe weather moments pass through. So either really severe straight line winds came through here or the start of that tornado. Kelly? Reporting live in northwest Oklahoma City, Adriana Ivashinsky, News 9.
All right, Adriana. Gosh, closed on the house today.
Wow.
It's
Poor lady, so sad.
And we've all been busy. You've been doing your thing. I've been Southgate Elementary down in Moore.
Yeah.
I guess damage, roof's gone or partially
I don't know the extent of it, but that's what we had to report, that there was damage to Southgate.
Okay. And it missed, Plaza Towers by half a mile and missed Briarwood by about a mile or so.
You know what's interesting? People are sending me pictures on my Facebook page. Go there and check it out if you have time. One guy who you can see the Warren Theater out his back door. His fence is torn down. There's damage to the back part of his house. That's got to be a new house. I mean, those houses all directly east of the Warren are basically new from the last tornado.
Right. The only we knew today we weren't going to have the dynamics weren't there to get big violent tornadoes like EF3s or 4s or 5s. It wasn't going to be like that. It really wasn't. It was going to be, if we had tornadoes at all, it'd be a low end event, and that really is. I mean, the winds down there maybe 100, maybe 120 miles per hour. It doesn't take much to pick up a car and to tip over a semi. Straight line winds can do that, but some of the roofs being taken up, lifted up in the air, that's for sure EF1 damage. Maybe low end EF2, but I think low end or upper end EF1 at this point. We'll see.
We've had some pretty amazing video. We have some video from one of our viewers who apparently was in their car when the hail came in. Let's watch.
Watch this.
And that's what happens to your windows when the hail comes in. Maybe we can add some. Oh, look at that.
Yeah, and by the way, you can be seriously hurt. You can lose your life by being in a car with winds to 80, 90 miles an hour with baseball-sized hail. I've done it, and I've lived through it, and it's horrible.
Yeah.
It's a nightmare, and the hail just comes in and goes all over the place, and it cuts you up. It can be really, really bad. I mean, there was a lot of hail damage today. West Oklahoma City, Canadian County, down through Moore, there's been some big hail, baseball-sized hail.
A lot of people think, I can park my car, then I can run through the hill back to the house or whatever.
No. One hailstone in the head, it's lights out. But our hearts, really go out to folks in Tulsa. I mean, the fatality up there today.
Yeah.
And
Sand Springs area.
Sand Springs. Big mess up there for sure.
Dare we even ask? I mean, what are we looking at down the road? We got any more stormy days coming up?
No, it's quiet. It's going to be really windy tonight, and really the next several days looks quiet. Next week we'll have another storm system here, maybe late Sunday or Monday, but.
Well, this is our first real severe storm event, and we got off to a rocky start.
Remember how cold it's been and chilly, and then it warmed up and all that, and we were thinking, oh, maybe nothing's going to happen this year. And last year we had 16 tornadoes total. I think today, if we count what Hank Brown saw, what Val and Jim saw, we're probably already at maybe 10.
No, we're counting that one in western Oklahoma. That was a tornado.
Yeah, Hank, Hank had several. He had 4 or 5 out there for sure. So you had those, so that we've got maybe 10, maybe a dozen today already.
And it was tough on emergency managers today because, I mean, these things were sort of rain-wrapped at one point. You couldn't tell exactly what it was, so they were hesitant. They didn't sound the sirens until, police were calling them saying, sound the sirens.
Right, and I want to say this, there weren't tornado warnings in effect. This was us issuing our own tornado warnings for these storms, and sometimes that's what you have to do.
Yeah. We'll be back with complete coverage on today's events at 10 o'clock. We'll see you then.
Dave's All New with James Franco and Camille.